effective June 3rd. The company says their new building will be a larger, customized, fully owned distribution center. The Dow at this hour is down 83 points, right now at 33,447. And taking a look at the roadways at this hour. Right now, according to MoDOT, we've got some work crews doing some work this afternoon. Static road work 270 east at New Florissant Road. The left lane is closed there. Again, that is 270 eastbound at New Florissant Road. The left lane is closed. And the KMOX forecast for this afternoon, look for partly sunny skies, a high 66, cloudy tonight, the low 47. A chance for some showers late tomorrow morning. Could include a rumble of thunder as well. The rain continuing into the afternoon, the high tomorrow 63. Right now, it is 54 degrees in St. Peter's, 53 in Florissant, and partly sunny, and 52 downtown at the Arch. I'm Carol Daniel, KMOX News.
Brought to you by Visit Missouri. What makes for a great vacation? Depends on who you ask. No matter how you like to get away, Missouri is filled with beautiful destinations and incredible experiences for you to explore. Discover the possibilities at visitmo.com.
The show, sponsored by the Cardinals. Cardinal tickets for 2023 are on sale now and start at just $6. Info@cardinals.com.
Welcome, my friends, to the show that never ends.
This is The Show.
Come inside, the show's about to start.
Now, Amy Marks Core's Chris Ranji on KMOX.
We want to hear from you today. 314-436-7900 is the number to call or text. Not Amy. Amy is not here. She will be back tomorrow. Nate Gatter is here in her stead. I'm Chris Ranji. It is good to have you with us on this Wednesday morning, April 26th. If you're not listening on 1120 a.m., you know you can listen on 98.7 FM or the Odyssey app, which is free. You could take us anywhere. You can also go back and listen to the podcasts. In fact, you can rewind. If you think one of us has said something stupid, you want to make sure that you've heard it correctly, hit that rewind button, and you can say, yep, they did. They said exactly the stupid thing I thought they said, and then you can yell at us later with that phone number, 314-436-7900, or you can leave us a voicemail at any time, 314-944-1120. We're on Instagram. We are on Twitter, unverified, at the show KMOX.
Time now for the top of the order. The top 3 stories everybody will be talking about.
Mayor Tashara Jones last night in the State of the City address made a number of comments in a speech that lasted about 45 minutes yesterday here in the city of St. Louis. We're going to go through some of her comments and the response from Brad Christ, who is a Missouri state representative, coming up.
The Cardinals lost again last night in San Francisco. They fell to 9-15 on the season, tied with the Cincinnati Reds for last place in the National League Central. They had a 2-run lead in the ninth, but gave up 3 and lost to San Francisco on a walk-off homer. We'll talk to the radio voice of the Cardinals, John Rooney, at 11:30 about where the Cardinals go from here.
Also, the United States is getting closer to that debt limit, and a debt ceiling fight is ongoing. This is a big day in that fight. Could there be some resolution by the time the show is over? We will let you know as we move about today here on KMOX.
Dr. King used the specific phrase economic justice throughout this particular speech. He talked about how we still have a long way to go before economic justice is a reality. He noted as long as there is poverty, the temptation for crime deepens. That social isolation, economic deprivation, poverty, and ignorance breed crime and the conditions for it, no matter what color you are. We all know that Dr. King was a scholar, and even he recognized that poverty is the parent of crime. There's nothing new about poverty, he said. What is new, however, is that we have the resources to get rid of it.
That is Mayor Jones last night delivering her State of the City address. And we're going to go through a number of the comments that she made here on KMOX this morning. But I felt like her overall, the overarching theme throughout the speech last night focused a lot on long-term, or what she believes to be long-term solutions for St. Louis City problems. And I do agree with her strongly on this point, that a lot of our issues, and these are historical issues, and this is true of a lot of cities in the country, maybe more so in St. Louis than a lot of these other places. But one of our biggest issues is the fact there are large neighborhoods with a lot of people who live in them who have been, I would say, underserved for many, many decades. And when you have these areas where there's just a lot of nothingness, there doesn't appear to be opportunity if you live in those areas. There aren't grocery stores, there aren't businesses. When you live in places like that, whether or not you want to believe it, it does lead to crime down the road. And if you want to really get to the root of crime, you have to address those problems as a city, as a region. That does not mean you don't do stuff in the short term. And that's where I felt like, and maybe this is just my perception of her speech last night, but I got the feeling that she was only focused on, or mostly focused on, long-term solutions, which we absolutely have to have as a city. Otherwise, we're just going to keep this cycle going of crime, arrest, punishment, crime, arrest, punishment. And that will go on and on and on forever. If we really want to alleviate those things, we have to address root causes. That's not me just trying to explain away crime or trying to excuse crime. That's me saying if we want to do something about it, that's what we have to acknowledge. But I don't feel like there was enough in terms of addressing current problems and how we can at least alleviate some of it now.
So I think you're right in terms of what the themes were about. I think it makes sense why Mayor Jones would feel the need. It's important, especially when you feel like the city, especially with respect to crime, is maybe at a crisis point right now. And I think considering the conversations that have been going on in recent weeks and months about the circuit attorney's office, it's fair to say that criminal justice in the city of St. Louis is, even by St. Louis standards, in a bit of a crisis at the moment.
There's no question about that.
And so I think it's fair for Mayor Jones to say, especially in this sort of speech, not just a run-of-the-mill, but a sort of take stock of where we are, where have we been, where are we going kind of speech, to say we can't lose sight of long-term lasting solutions by getting so bogged down in, like you said, the day-to-day cycle that doesn't necessarily create change. It just perpetuates itself and perpetuates itself. And none of that is an excuse for crime. But I do think it's useful for any of us to think about, especially if we don't come from those neighborhoods where employment numbers are bad and where grocery stores aren't even available and where housing isn't a problem and where street corners are not necessarily safe and those sorts of things. I do think it's important for all of us to at least think about what would be the point at which I would start to consider, maybe I will steal something. You know,
I heard how St. Louisans feel afraid to bike, drive, or walk our streets due to reckless driving. I'm struggling with teaching Aiden how to drive. As we invest over $50 million in street paving, engineering, and maintenance, I'm ready to work with the Board of Aldermen to increase our traffic enforcement with red light cameras in a data-driven way that passes constitutional muster.
So that is one of the major issues in the city, at least in terms of perception. I can only speak anecdotally. My experiences driving downtown St. Louis, I have to be honest, I don't see a lot of what other people say they see. I don't see a ton of the running of red lights. It happens occasionally.
Yeah, I've seen it, but I don't think it's quite as ubiquitous as some people make it out to be.
I know some people talk like every time they drive downtown, there are people blowing through red lights. I'm just telling you, I come down here every day. I'm not here necessarily during rush hours, though I guess the morning is. But what I see is nothingness. I don't see a lot of people ignoring traffic lights. What I see is nobody. There's very little traffic. There's very little incentive for people, it seems like, to come downtown. They don't necessarily have to work downtown anymore. And one interesting number And this was reported yesterday. I don't believe this was in her speech. I don't think she said this explicitly. But St. Louis is one of the one of the worst two cities in the country in terms of rebounding from the pandemic. When people went home during the pandemic, they were on lockdown and working from home. The rate of people coming back to the city is second lowest of any city in the country, the worst being San Francisco. And the difference in San Francisco is that is a tech hub. It is the tech hub in the country. Most of those people can work from home because they don't need to be in an office building. This is different in St. Louis, and it is unique that we just have not had the bounce back that some of the other cities have had. A lot of cities have had trouble, but we have had the second worst trouble in terms of getting people back downtown after the pandemic ended.
What do you think we can do to incentivize that?
Don't know. Really don't know. The number one thing is people have to feel whether or not the perception is true. The perception has to be that they feel safe coming downtown, that there is a reason to come downtown.
Do you feel unsafe coming downtown?
The worst I ever feel is maybe just like a little unease sometimes, but it's not usual. Usually I feel fine. I'm not really worried walking around the city. So sometimes we have done it a couple of times since the season started, walked from the building here, which is downtown, to a Cardinals game. And that's, around noon or 1 o'clock or whatever. And I know there are already a lot of people in the city, but not necessarily where we are, not until you get closer to the stadium. And that's where everybody is. But I don't feel like I'm in danger walking from here to there.
I really never have. I mean, I saw you after opening day.
Yeah.
I was out with some friends and I saw you and some other people we work with here. And I ended up taking the metro back to U City from down around the stadium. And I probably did that around, 10:30 at night.
Yeah.
So the game at that point has been over for 4, 5, 6 hours. I don't remember exactly when it ended. It was a long game on opening day, but that's an early, mid-afternoon start. It had been over for a long time. And even then, I didn't feel that would maybe be the closest I felt recently to unease, where you just feel the need to be more aware. It was not, there were very few other people on the Metrolink, and I still didn't feel unsafe.
We were just a few, where you're talking about, it was a place just a few blocks from here. It's, I don't know. I feel, the way I feel in the city is it's just so desolate. And at night, I know it's supposed to feel desolate because it's night and you're supposed to be at home. But it's almost like there are no businesses. There's nothing around. That's the feeling I have. And it's more, to me, it's sadder than anything else. It's more sad than it is dangerous. That's the feeling I get when I walk around. Now, you might be different. You listening might feel like you're in constant danger the entire time you're here. And if that's how you feel, that's how you feel. I'm just telling you how I feel when I walk around the city. Nate Gatter, Chris Ranji with you today on the show. We've got more of Mayor Jones and her comments from last night. Also, you'll hear a little bit from Brad Christ, who offered the response, the rebuttal, if you will. That's all coming up here on KMOX.
For everything online, it's Odyssey.com. Download the Odyssey app and listen to KMOX for all the news, sports, talk, and podcasts that move you. Odyssey, that's AUDACY.
I studied Spanish in college and never got fluent. But then I tried Babbel.
Want the most effective way to learn another language? In just 15 minutes a day, Babbel's bite-sized lessons will have you learning another language in as little as 3 weeks.
Babbel is all conversation-based, so it gets you speaking quickly about things you actually talk about in the real world.
You'll really see a difference in how you can speak and how conversational you can be in just a few weeks.
Babbel isn't just lessons. You can listen to podcasts, play games, watch videos. You can even take live online classes with a language teacher. There are so many ways to learn with Babbel.
The lessons online and in the app make it easy to learn from pretty much anywhere.
University studies have shown that using Babbel for 15 hours is equivalent to a semester of college Spanish. If you want to learn a new language, there's no better way than Babbel. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Hi, this is Kent Newbold at Newbold Toyota. If you're worried about gas prices, Toyota has the most models of hybrid electrics in the industry. From the best-selling Camry to the best-selling RAV4, we've got it all. So come see us. That's Newbold Toyota in O'Fallon, Illinois, or newboldtoyota.com. You'll be sold on Newbold.
Worldwide Technology, recognized as a great place to work for 12 years in a row, is hosting a supply chain career event on April 29th at their North American Integration Center in Edwardsville, Illinois. Packed with skilled professionals in the technology production and supply chain industries to fill dozens of roles. Positions include warehouse specialists and managers, production supervisors, configuration techs, and more. These jobs come with competitive pay, industry-leading benefits that even include your pets, and an award-winning culture with career development that gives you options to grow. Learn more and apply online at wwt.com/careers.
Diamonds Direct's biggest sale all year is going on now with an extra 20% savings, an expanded selection, in-store designer appearances, and special financing. Imagine 20% off Diamonds Direct's already value prices on rings, earrings, bracelets, bands, colored gemstone jewelry, and thousands of engagement ring mountings. Meet the designers who've flown in with all new collections for spring. It's the most exciting event all year with extreme savings and exceptional value. Don't miss this once-a-year jewelry extravaganza. Details, showroom hours, directions, and more at diamondsdirect.com.
Remember your childhood piggy bank and the satisfaction you felt finally reaping the rewards of your diligent savings? With TrueHold, you can access your biggest piggy bank, your home's equity, and start enjoying the retirement you plan for right now without having to move. Here's how. TrueHold will buy your home for its best current value while home values are high. You get to bank all the cash now and live in your home for as long as you want. Plus, TrueHold covers all property taxes, insurance, repairs, and maintenance too. And since TrueHold pays your home's current value in cash now, it's yours to do whatever you'd like. Start enjoying your home's equity while values are high. Visit Truehold.com and discover how much TrueHold will buy your home for today based on its best current value, not what's coming. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit Truehold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without moving. That's Truehold.com.
Caring for residents for over a century, Manor Grove is committed to making everyone feel at home. Choosing a home for your loved one to reside is an important decision and shouldn't be taken lightly. Manor Grove makes your decision easy with medical professionals and staff who care for residents like family. If you are looking for a caring and quality nursing home and rehab facility, please visit our website, manorgrove.com, and take our virtual tour. Manor Grove, over a century of caring. Welcome home to Manor Grove.
KMOX, the 2023 Large Market Radio Station of the Year, recognized by the Missouri Broadcasters Association. KMOX, we were built for this.
Nate Gather is in for Amy Mark's course today here on KMOX. I'm Chris Ranji. Did I say that? You know who it is. Hey, we want you to follow us on Twitter at the show KMOX. If you have a thought you want to get to us, you're more than welcome to. We'd love to hear from you. I mentioned that, and there is more from Mayor Jones that you're going to hear throughout the morning today on the show. Brad Christ is a representative from the state of Missouri here, and I believe we've spoken to him before in the past. In fact, I know we have. And he had a response to the comments from Jones in his State of the City rebuttal.
Tonight, instead of offering a new approach that recognizes and addresses our greatest challenges, Mayor Tishaura Jones doubled down on failed approaches, misguided ideas, and extreme ideologies. Even with a windfall of funding from COVID relief and the Rams settlement, there is no plan to combat crime. With the city facing a historic lawsuit for illegally collecting the earnings tax from non-city residents, and in a new era of remote work, there's no plan to reform the city's broken and antiquated tax structure for the 21st century. And instead of focusing on prosecuting vehicle thefts, a crime spree affecting people across our region, the city is taking car manufacturers to court instead of the criminals who steal them. St. Louis deserves better.
So that's Brad Christ. To me, he's partly right. I don't agree with him that the idea of addressing root problems of crime, root causes of crime, is extreme. It just isn't. It's
I
a
don't know.
solution. Do we want to fix the problem or not?
Is that what he
do
was
we
referring
want-
to when he says extreme ideology?
I
Is the
don't-
idea that maybe we should try to help people have better schools and better jobs?
I don't
and
know what
better
else
housing?
it could be. I don't know what else it could be.
I'd like him
think
to say out loud, "I'm against better jobs and better schools and better housing." Then,
well, I don't. You can't say that.
I'd like
think-
him to, though. If he's saying
Sure.
that's the extreme ideology, I'd like him to just say it.
I think for the now, which a lot of people want a solution now. They want to feel within the next couple of months that something is working and something is actually being done. And I get that because I want that too. The only way to make people feel better is to make them feel better. And I know that doesn't sound logical, but the reality is a lot of this is perception. And as long as we continue to give fuel to that idea that this is the worst city in the country and you can't come down here at all, because if you come down here at all, you're going to get mugged or you're going to have your car broken into. And I'm not saying that stuff doesn't happen, and it doesn't happen more than it should, but I think the perception is worse than what it actually is. So people have to feel okay coming down here first. They have to feel like progress is being made first. But while that's happening, there does need to be an addressing of the root problems of this, the root causes of these problems, because if we don't do that, it will just be a never-ending cycle.
And it serves the city better to alleviate those concerns if our politicians are trying to alleviate those concerns and make people feel that's less likely than exacerbate them. I think that's important.
Yeah, that absolutely is. But I do think he's right on some level. There has to be a feeling that it's being addressed right now, too. That's Nate Gatter in for Amy. I'm Chris Ranji. You're listening to the show. Joe Vollmer, Ward 5 Alderman, joins us next on KMOX.
I think there are a million interesting conversations to have.
There's always great conversation waiting on the Dave Glover Show.
Where I think we're going so very wrong is that we no longer read, we no longer research, we no longer study. Our version of that is Tucker Carlson or TikTok. Newsflash, get ready to get blown away. These people aren't always the most honest.
The Dave Glover Show, weekdays beginning at 1 on KMOX.
The other day I was driving down the road and I saw this car that caught my attention. It was sleek, it was sharp, it screamed luxury, and as it turned out, it was a Genesis. Amy Mark scores here for Genesis of St. Charles. If you're in the market for a Highline vehicle and you haven't checked out a Genesis, you really are missing out. It is luxury's best kept secret. Genesis of St. Charles is conveniently located in the St. Charles Hyundai showroom in St. Peters, and that is part of the St. Charles Automotive Group campus with St. Charles Hyundai, St. Charles Nissan, and Genesis of St. Charles. They are located a quarter mile east of Mid-Rivers Mall Drive, just off Highway 70. You can also visit them online at genesisofstcharles.com. But again, if you're on the market for that true luxury vehicle, you really need to test drive a Genesis at Genesis of St. Charles, genesisofstcharles.com.
Hi, it's Tom Ackerman. Let's vote for Ophthalmology Associates as best laser eye treatment in St. Louis Magazine's A-list competition. Online at stlmag.com.
Hey guys, Glover here with my very, very good friend, Dr. Kathy Maupin at BioBalanceHealth.com. If you have reached that certain age and you're just not feeling very well and nothing's working the way it used to work, go see Dr. Kathy. She is not only a medical doctor, she is a patient of this bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. It absolutely works. It's a long-term solution. She is an artist when it comes to helping you with your hormones. BioBalanceHealth.com for Dr. Kathy Maupin.
At 10:30, we have sunny skies and 55 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Carol Daniel. A business destroyed after a massive fire on Delmar this morning.
Fire crews are now entering the Three Kings Pub and Iron Age Tattoo Parlor, the scene of a 3-alarm fire that began in the 3 o'clock hour this morning in the University City Loop. Crews continue pouring water over the rooftop, and a smoky haze lingers over much of Delmar. Other than the massive presence of fire crews, the rest of Del Mar is quiet. Many of the stores not opening until noon today. The fire in the building that houses the restaurant and tattoo parlor began possibly in the kitchen. Reporting from the University City Loop, Debbie Monterey, KMOX News.
The Republic Service Recycling Center also caught fire this morning at Bayless and 55. Lee May Fire says there were a large amount of flames and smoke inside a compactor. A bipartisan group of senators coming together to crack down on social media companies and the apparent stranglehold they say they have on the nation's young people. The measure requires a minimum age verification of 13 and parental consent for users under the age of 17. Arkansas Republican Tom Cotton says among some of its common sense guidelines, the bills aim to bring some real world guidance to cyberspace for teenagers.
They're too young to see a rated R movie. They're too young to be exposed to much of the content that is on social media and manipulating what they think, what they feel about themselves and others.
Cardinals Care donates $200,000 to the St. Louis County Library for a new bookmobile. Among the 5,000 items on board, it will have a dedicated Cardinals shelf featuring books with players, alumni, and the team mascot Fred Bird. It should be rolling later this year. The Cardinals will now be featured on library cards at all St. Louis County branches as well. The KMOX forecast for this afternoon, partly sunny, the high 66, cloudy tonight, the low of 47, and then some showers possible late tomorrow morning into the afternoon. Look for high tomorrow of 63 degrees. Right now it's sunny and 55 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Carol Daniel, KMOX News.
Brought to you by your Lennox Premier dealer, Scott Lee Heating.
Make sure that your home's heating and cooling system is being cared for by your local Lennox Premier dealer, Scott Lee Heating. We're offering special saving opportunities on a new Lennox system, so call us today at 314-756-9444 or visit us online at scottleeheating.com to learn more.
Tamara Green, aka Strawberry, was a beautiful, young, exotic dancer and mother of three who was gunned down months after she was connected to a wild party at the Detroit mayor's mansion. The party's rumor, her murderous fact. Who Killed Strawberry is Odyssey's riveting new true crime podcast. 20 years later, Who Killed Strawberry is still a mystery, although there are lots of theories about why she was killed. Was it connected to the party, to a grudge, or to something else? Listen on the Odyssey app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Men suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE, regardless of age or past medical history, you'll see instant results on your first visit at Paramount Men's Medical Center. And for a limited time, your initial consultation and first treatment are totally free. Call now, 314-720-8081.
Broadcasting from the underlined Three Lawyers, GetJim.com studios.
KMOX.
RENNER, forward and back. Hey, it's the Cardinal Cowboy. Excited to share with you about Renner Garage Door. Spells the same thing, forward and backward. RENNER. Formerly the St. Louis Door Company, Renner's been selling, servicing, and installing garage doors in St. Louis since 1966. So if you need to repair or replace your garage door or opener, Renner does that. So call Renner or check out their special deals at RennerDoorSTL.com. Renner, the garage door company that does. Giddy up!
Ask yourself, what am I doing to guarantee I will have adequate inflation-hedged income that I may never outlive? Why not make sure your future income is growing and may last as long as you do? Call for your complimentary retirement and income book at 844-513-SAFE. That's 844-513-7233. And also join me, Ben Coons, for the Retirement and Income Radio Show, heard here every Saturday at 3 p.m. on KMOX Radio.
Now, Y98 presents 90 and 60. A look back at St. Louis City's match against Union Omaha in U.S. Open Cup tournament play.
Ricky toward the Union Omaha box. He shoots. Left foot is in. Oh, baby. City leads. Here comes Vasilev on the strike. Left foot. He just goes on the ground. Overlapping. Pompeo a shot. It's deflected in. Celio Pompeo and City make it 2-0. Ready, Pompeo give and go. Akil in deep. Fires the right footed shot and buries it. Akil won. 3-0 City. Union box slots for Pompeo. Knocks it to Jackson. Bury that, baby. City's got a 4-0 lead. Where it does stop. City wins it. Final score 5-1.
This has been 90 and 60. St. Louis City returns to City Park this coming Saturday to face the Portland Timbers. Pre-game at 7, kick at 7:30 on Y98 St. Louis.
Welcome in. It's the Chris and Amy show without Amy. Nate Gatter is here for her. She'll be back tomorrow. She is in New York City. And I don't know why I gave away her location. Go find her. I'm here in St. Louis. Chris Ranji, good to have you with us today. Again, 314-436-7900 if you want to talk with us. We go to the guest line today. And Fifth Ward Alderman and a friend of the show, Joe Vollmer, is visiting with us this morning on KMOX. Hello, Joe.
Hello there. How are we doing?
We're doing great. If we were going to talk to you, we should have ordered some Milos.
Well, you guys should come on site and do an interview. I think it would be much better for you also.
Yeah, you're right. You are not wrong about that, my friend. We'll take you up on it. We wanted to have you on today because we just want to get your feeling on what Mayor Jones had to say in her State of the City address last night in a speech that lasted about 45 minutes.
Well, I believe the mayor made some very salient points. It was, I'm one of those, I'm not I guess we've gotten into this progressive moderate society in St. Louis, but I think as I proved last year when I had to serve as president, I'm willing to listen and listen. And I listened last night. She made some wonderful points, especially with dealing with Jefferson City. I think there was an elephant in the room that she left out of the speech, though. And that's our circuit attorneys. When you're talking about the state of the city, that is the biggest black eye on the city right now, and it's causing, I believe, most of our problems. And I believe that somewhere along the line, the executive branch, along with the legislative branch, need to get together and sit down and see that this is what's occurring here. While she might, I don't agree with the state removing her. I would rather she step aside, maybe solve these problems, and then appoint someone to get this office in order, because I see nothing but a long-term debacle with getting this place back organized. It's just a complete disarray.
I'm glad you said that, Joe, because that was a thing that stuck out to me too, is that wasn't addressed. I wasn't surprised that it wasn't addressed, but that is one of the largest issues, at least in terms of discussion, because people who didn't know who Kim Gardner was 3 months ago, they certainly know who she is now. And it's a thing that we have talked about for weeks now. I guess you could say months, actually. So as it pertains to that office, you said that you think it is the biggest problem or one of the biggest problems we face. How much of a difference would it make aesthetically to be in the city of St. Louis if the prosecution, if that circuit attorney's office appeared to be more competent?
I think it would be a 100% flip-flop of how people feel when they know that if someone is convicted or put in jail for a crime, that they're going to go to trial and there's going to be an outcome. I mean, when you look at part of, I guess, her stance is less people in jail, I believe that in the last year and a half, there are 200 more people in prison now because there's no processing. There's nothing being done to handle these trials. I believe she's supposed to have a minimum of 15 lawyers, and I believe there's only 2 on staff, and I don't know that they are qualified to even handle the trials that are being backed up. This is a game that's just, what do you call that where you stack the, I'm an old man, I forget, is it jungle or what?
Jenga?
Jenga, where they're going to, one kid's going to fall, and it is just going, the whole office is going to collapse. This is a disaster, and it needs to be addressed.
You don't have bar Jenga and Milos? You're supposed to get one of those big sets with huge wooden blocks that people can play out in the patio.
Well, that's what our bocce courts are. We put everybody outside with the and let them throw balls at each other.
Yeah,
fair enough. That's
none of
even
this
better.
yuppie big Jenga stuff, Raj. Raj is just a lobbyist for big Jenga here. So, Joe,
we'll look into that in the future. Maybe we'll have a contest.
Exactly.
All right, good.
Joe, one of the things I do want to ask you about, and this, I don't want to put words in Raj's mouth, but I think part of where he was going is plenty of people, especially in outer St. Louis County and St. Charles County, felt unsafe in the city, and like policing and crime was not where it needed to be in the city of St. Louis long before we started talking a lot about Kim Gardner in the last couple of months.
You weren't even alive yet.
Exactly. So Do you think a return to a time when the average St. Louis area resident is not thinking about the circuit attorney's office, which would be a return to like January, it would really make a short-term difference in terms of how people, especially outside the city, feel about coming into the city and spending time here?
I think it would add to their confidence. We have, and the gun laws, that's just unreal. I mean, having had the CVPA occur in my ward, this is a neighborhood I've been running since I was a kid. I'm 64, and I live within 5 blocks of where I grew up. And to know that a teenager can walk down the street with an AR-15 and it's not illegal until he pulls the trigger, due to the folks in Jefferson City, that's just the scariest thing in the world. I just can't understand. Trying to understand Jefferson City is if there's not enough alcohol in the room.
Well, Joe, I don't want to belabor the Kim Gardner point, but you said it was kind of the elephant in the room that didn't get addressed. At the same time, she did in February Mayor Jones did have some pretty strong comments saying that Kim Gardner needed to do the soul searching and that perhaps that she had lost the faith of the people and the trust of the people. Are you surprised why do you think she would have had comments that were quite critical and quite pointed in the direction of the circuit attorney's office in February, and that those same feelings wouldn't be included now in this address?
Well, I tell you, in February, I was quite proud of the mayor. I thought that was a very good stance she took, and it made me think that there was going to be some sort of resolution, maybe sitting down in a room and letting know that when all you see is your name in the paper, it's no longer the job has lost its importance. It's more about pride, I think, almost right now, that she's fighting this to tooth and nail to stay. Why the mayor did not address it, I don't know. If there's other reasons, I wish she would have addressed it, because I think the fact that all these hearings are going on, and another one tomorrow for contempt, realize that there's a major problem, that we have an office and it is an elected office. And like I stated before, I would hate to see the Attorney General for the state remove her. I rather wish it would be a voluntary recognition on her part that at this point the job's not getting done, and I care about the city so much, and I realize the importance of the office. I should step aside, maybe not resign, but take a leave of absence, get this straightened out, and let someone run the office and get the office back into a functioning matter. It is the most dysfunctional thing I have ever been associated with in my life.
Joe Vollmer, Ward 5 Alderman for the city of St. Louis, visiting with us here on KMOX. His ward includes parts of the Hill. And you mentioned, as we've been talking about here, the idea that what's happening with the circuit attorney, what's happening with the police department here in St. Louis has not been good enough. And what the state wants to do is take over total control of it, like they have control over Kansas City at the moment and have for years. You don't believe that's going to work, or do you think it'll have some effect?
Well, I'm going on my 21st year of being an alderman. So I've been an alderman under state control and under local control, and both have their problems. State control was not perfect by any means. I believe that us raising the tax dollars, spending the money, I would like to see the city be able to control our police department. I've always worked with and for the police, and they have always supported me, and I will go along with them. I think currently, talking to the rank and file members that I get to see a lot of on a daily basis, that the raises make some of this better for them. I believe that they have some confidence in our new chief, and I would like to see the chief have the chance to put this police department back in order, not in order, but to get it to where people want to join. I think we actually have a slight increase in this first recruitment class coming up, not big enough, but I think our new chief can actually maybe turn this around, and I like to see him give them the chance to do that before the state comes in. The state doesn't have all the answers, as we can see by the many dysfunctional things that happen, how they run their part of the state and how they try to control us to be like them. We're a completely different animal than Jefferson City.
What is your feeling on, and we played what Brad Christ had to say about Mayor Jones and not addressing the issues, instead wanting to sue Kia and Hyundai. And then, of course, she said that she wants to install the red light cameras. Those efforts in curbing some of the traffic crime, because we know some of those Kias and Hyundais that are stolen are driven recklessly through the area, and sometimes they're crashed into other vehicles or they're used for crimes. What is the proper way to do it to try and alleviate some of these issues, car thefts, and then in turn the traffic violations that are putting people at risk?
Well, the easiest answer would be to have more police on the streets to actually enforce the traffic laws. Until that can occur, some electronic means must be used. I know that from personal experience, when red light cameras went into effect, and I understand we have to do it constitutionally now, but they did make a difference. I have one intersection in my ward, Hampton and Wilson, right near 44. It was one of the top 5 most dangerous intersections in the city before the cameras were installed. Within a year of their use, that had become one of the safer ones ever because people were aware and were afraid of getting a fine. Even relatives of mine got a fine. I said, well, pay it. You've been caught. That's the number one thing is we need more police to enforce these things, but electronic means are an answer that we have to look towards, but we have to make sure that they're done properly. I believe we need facial recognition along with the plate number, but there's no fear of retribution. There's no fear of being caught, the fear of being chased, because chases are a problem. These kids are stealing the cars, don't have driver's license most of the time, don't know what they're doing, and they're driving recklessly in a stolen vehicle. And then there are people putting them up to this. I'm sure I've talked to police that there's like a ring, as our chief has said, that there's only a few amount of people committing all these crimes, but there's nothing being done to them. And there's no fear. There's no fear of retribution.
Joe Vollmer, we appreciate your time. Thank you for visiting with us again, and we'll see you on the Bocce court.
Come on by sometime. And let's do this live, and maybe we'll play a game. Thank you, gentlemen.
All right, we'll do it for sure. That is Joe Vollmer, alderman for Ward 5 in the city of St. Louis. There was the report in the Post-Dispatch, I think it was about a week ago, that in St. Louis County, police chases are up 300%. And that can be seen as either a good thing or a bad thing. I still don't know how to feel about the idea of the chase, because in that very same story, they said over an 18-month period prior to this, 10 people were killed in police pursuits, which that's the problem. The problem with chasing somebody is it puts people at risk. Sometimes the drivers who are involved, sometimes it's bystanders, sometimes it's people minding their own business, driving another car, and then they get T-boned on the way to wherever they're going. So I really don't know how to solve that problem. But the idea that there needs to be some feeling of fear that if I do this, or if I steal this car and then I drive 90 down city streets, something is going to happen to me. Maybe that needs to be there a little bit more than it is now. Nate Gatter is in for Amy. I'm Chris Ranji. Did you see this next on KMOX?
Jewels on Hampton in St. Louis Hills is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, and fine watches on site. Jewels on Hampton is a premier jeweler with an exquisite selection of diamonds, semi-precious stone jewelry, and vintage watches. Their expert design team can restyle your jewelry to today's contemporary style. They also do jewelry and watch repair. Need extra cash? Jewels on Hampton is paying some of the highest prices on gold, silver, diamonds, semi-precious colored stones, and fine watches. Bring your collectibles and clocks, sports memorabilia, and figurines too. Jewels on Hampton, 4506 Hampton, just 3 blocks south of Chippewa. Call them at 314-752-5000. That's 314-752-5000. So if you need some extra cash, looking for that one-of-a-kind piece, make Jewels on Hampton your first stop. Jewels on Hampton in St. Louis Hills.
Celebrate 10 extraordinary St. Louis area women for their outstanding volunteer service and leadership at the 2023 Women of Achievement Luncheon at the Ritz-Carlton St. Louis. From volunteer leaders in human welfare and arts and education to multicultural advocacy and humanitarian concerns. Come celebrate the 2023 Women of Achievement on Tuesday, May 9th at the Ritz-Carlton St. Louis. Doors open at 11:15 a.m. Reservations at WOASTL.org. Presenting sponsors are KMOX Radio, St. Louis Post-Dispatch, and Ladue News. For more information, visit WOASTL.org.
There's more riding on Metro Transit than people. Metro Transit helps move our economy. If you're a people person looking to change careers, join our team. You may qualify for a signing bonus too. We are conducting on-site interviews this Saturday, April 29th at the Brentwood Metro Bus Facility, located at 3000 South Brentwood, St. Louis. Metro Transit offers good health and retirement benefits, so stop by to get your career and our local economy moving. For more info, visit workatmetrostl.com.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members of FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. Most corporate credit cards offer points as incentives, but those points amount to less than their worth in real cash value. Ramp's business cards offer you cash back, real money in your pocket. Plus, you control who spends what with each vendor. And Ramp's software collects and verifies receipts automatically, which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 3.5% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now get $250 when you join Ramp. Just go to ramp.com/free. Ramp.com/free. RAMP.com/free.
The MLB app. Your team, your players, your home for live streaming baseball.
And what a way to start.
Customize your home feed with your favorite team. Get personalized stats, highlights, stories, breaking news, and follow your team on game day. 3D replays and live streams add a new dimension to the game. Plus, free live streaming programming every day. The MLB app. Make it your home for all things baseball. Download for free from the App Store or Google Play. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Major League Baseball trademarks used with permission.
Hello Garage elevates your garage, adding additional entertainment space for graduation parties or other summer get-togethers you have planned. In as little as 48 hours, get organized and start planning that party. Visit them online at hellogarage.com.
Join us at Odyssey as we all do our one thing. Together millions of things for our planet. Switch to eco-friendly cleaning products and spend more time outside to make every day Earth Day. When we each share our one thing, it becomes a million things for our planet. What's your one thing?
There are over 10,000 reasons why steel is not sold at Lowe's or the Home Depot. Find tools for the job site or your own backyard at over 10,000 authorized local steel dealers. Find yours at steelusa.com. Lowe's and the Home Depot are trademarks of their respective companies.
Prepare an emergency kit, sign up for local alerts, and make a family communications plan. Get started today at ready.gov/plan. A public service message brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Back to the show.
Yeah, the show
on KMOX.
Did you see that thing? I can't believe it. Something is obviously wrong.
This is a joke, right?
Oh my God. Are you freaking kidding me? No way.
You gotta be kidding me. Don't feel bad. There's no way you could have known that.
Now, did you see this with Chris and Amy on the show?
I don't know if you, I'm sure you did, Nate, and I'm going to get a little sportsy here, but I don't care. Did you see Aaron Rodgers' dumb face walking the Jets building? New York Jets.
Are you just
His
mad?
Dumb, stupid face.
Are you just mad because Aaron Rodgers owns the Bears?
Not anymore, because he's gone and dumb and stupid, and now he's with the New York Jets. Aaron Rodgers, one of the great quarterbacks in history. Man, I want to swear about this guy.
Maybe the most talented quarterback to ever play in the NFL.
I mean, slow down, Chief. Aaron Rodgers is now a member of the New York Jets, so I don't have to watch his stupid face on Sunday anymore against the Bears. So, sorry, Packers. I hope Jordan Love sucks.
I'm going to save you from your sports diatribe, and I'm going to take you to Did You See This, which you probably did. Chief Justice John Roberts, in the spirit of our conversations the last couple of days related to Justices Gorsuch and Thomas, respectively, declined Illinois Senator Dick Durbin's request to testify before the Senate Judiciary Committee. His rationale was that separation of powers basically means that the legislative branch should not be interfering in what the court is doing, and that the judicial branch can police itself, and the court has the right to do that. Of course, another way to say separation of powers is checks and balances, and the Senate might be doing exactly what they should do if the Supreme Court, as we talked about yesterday, is abusing lifetime appointments. Chief Justice Roberts also alluded to a court of ethics to which all the justices, quote, subscribe, which is about the most vague word you could possibly use. Not adhere, not to which the Supreme Court justices are bound, not to which they are required to follow, just to which they subscribe.
So what I'm hearing is Chief Justice Roberts saying that the court can police itself. My question is it?
Yeah, historically it has, but historically justices have not been doing this sort of thing, or at least haven't been caught.
It's very possible these two guys who have been conducting business without disclosing it, they're not the only ones. It's possible there are others on the court, and it's possible one of the liberal justices or many of them are doing this kind of stuff. But I know this, if the court was 6-3 in the other way, and it was liberal justices doing this, I know there would be just a groundswell of outrage about what's happening.
I'll tell you this. Chief Justice John Roberts knows exactly what he's doing. He is the most underrated politician for his politicking in Washington, D.C.
I don't doubt that. I think he is very good at that job. He just needs the police better because his people are out of line. That's Nate Gatter. I'm Chris Ranji. We've got more coming up on KMOX.
For adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy, now there's Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months, and Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Nothing and me go hand in hand. Nothing on my skin, that's my new plan. Nothing is every day.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms, such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, you could achieve 90% clearer skin. Ask your doctor about the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis and visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
No April Fools here. Deals are blossoming at St. Charles Hyundai. Stop by soon because they're offering 0% APR financing on select Hyundai models through May the 1st. St. Charles Hyundai is the #1 volume Hyundai dealership in the St. Louis area. Since 2015, the selection is great and 0% APR financing on select Hyundai models at St. Charles Hyundai, just a quarter mile east of Mid-Rivers Mall Drive, off Highway 70, or online at stcharleshyundai.com. St. Charles Hyundai.
Too many businesses sell for far less than they should. Clayton Capital Partners is one of the nation's top independent investment banking firms for the middle market, representing clients nationwide in multiple industries. Our process is designed to uncover and make the most of your company's competitive advantage. Create a sales strategy that highlights your company's value to potential buyers and identify outrageous buyers who will pay a premium for your business. All owners will exit their business. Make sure it is on your terms. ClaytonCapitalPartners.com.
KMOX, KECK HD2, K254CR, St. Louis.
The home of the Cardinals, KMOX. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is the start where the early birds start getting their prices for air conditioners. If you're that person that is looking now to get prices and you are calling around, please, I'm asking you to please call me. Here's what I have to offer. It's going to be simple. It's going to be straightforward. It's common sense language. And I won't give you a science lesson on what works for you and works for your house and works for your budget, which will lead you to savings of thousands of dollars. So if you want straight shot, get your prices, talk to people, call me first, call me last. Bart Inman at 314-293-2600. Again, it's Bart Inman, 314-293-2600, or the internet thing. It is You got to get the spelling right. So it's Bart with a B, Inman with an I.com. Can I add this? Do we get enough time to add this? Save it in your phone under A, air conditioning. It works. My customers say it does work. God bless.
Awarded 2023 Large Market Radio Station of the Year by the Missouri Broadcasters Association, KMOX.
At 11 o'clock, some sun, 57 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun. Our top story this hour, a business destroyed after a massive fire on Del Mar this morning.
Fire crews are now entering the Three Kings Pub and Iron Age Tattoo Parlor, the scene of a 3-alarm fire that began in the 3 o'clock hour this morning in the University City Loop. Crews continue pouring water over the rooftop, and a smoky haze lingers over much of Del Mar. Other than the massive presence of fire crews, the rest of Del Mar is quiet, many of the stores not opening until noon today. The fire in the building that houses the restaurant and tattoo parlor began possibly in the kitchen. Reporting from the University City Loop, Debbie Monterey, KMOX News.
The woman accusing Donald Trump of rape could testify today in the civil trial in New York.
E. Jean Carroll left court yesterday without answering reporters' questions.
What was it like to be in court today?
In opening statements, her lawyer told the jury of 6 men and 3 women the former advice columnist would testify to how a chance encounter with Donald Trump 30 years ago in a Manhattan department store turned into rape in the dressing room, and that fear and shame kept her quiet. The attorney for the former president, who is running again, told the jury Carroll's story was wildly implausible and short of evidence. He accused her of pursuing the case for money. This is a civil case. Trump is not required to testify, but his lawyer is not ruling it out. Julie Walker, New York.
New details are coming to light about the killing of the ISIS leader by the Taliban. U.S. officials say this was the leader who spearheaded the suicide bombing at the Kabul airport. Initially, neither the U.S. nor apparently the Taliban were aware the mastermind was dead. National Security Council spokesman John Kirby says this is just the latest loss for ISIS, and he anticipates blowback in the days ahead.
This battlefield loss was certainly not the first, and we can expect that the Taliban will continue to put pressure on ISIS-K, and I think it's certainly conceivable that ISIS-K will continue to try to attack the Taliban going forward.
Electric cars continue to get more popular. CBS News correspondent Jim Krasula.
Electric car sales surged by 55% last year from 2021 levels, surpassing 10 million vehicles worldwide. China accounted for about 60% of the market, according to a new report from the International Energy Agency. An estimated 26 million electric cars were on the world's roads in 2022, which represented a 60% increase relative to 2021. Jim Krasula, CBS News.
The KMOX Business Desk. There's a new executive at the head of St. Louis City SC. The team announced Diego Gigliani will take over as the club's new president and general manager. Carolyn Kindle will remain CEO and focus on long-term strategic initiatives. Gigliani from Argentina will run the day-to-day. He's been with the parent company of Manchester City. The Dow from Stifel's up 21 points to 33,552. We've got some road work on 255 East at Telegraph. The two lanes are closed there. Also, the left lane is closed on 270 East at New Florissant because of some road work there, and there may be some restrictions still on Del Mar as firefighters investigate what happened at Three Kings Public House in the Loop.
KMOX AccuWeather, a mostly sunny, nice afternoon, high 64 to 68, mainly cloudy, upper 40s tonight. Showers and even a rumble of thunder later tomorrow morning into the afternoon, low 60s. Clouds and sprinkles early, sunny breaks in the afternoon Friday, high 64. Saturday's nicer than Sunday. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Dean DeVore on the voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Sponsored by Champion Floors. Right now, 57 in Florissant, 56 St. Peter's, some sun, 57 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Champion Floor Company is known for their customer service. It's a big reason why they've been serving the community for 34 years. If you're looking to replace your flooring, schedule an appointment at championfloor.com. Champion Floor, delivering excellence every day.
The show, sponsored by the Cardinals. Cardinal tickets for 2023 are on sale now and start at just $6. Info@cardinals.com.
You've got KMOX. Nate Gatter is in for Amy Marks' course today. She'll be back tomorrow. I'm Chris Ranji, and it is good to have you with us. St. Louis has, well, we're all talking about and have been discussing efforts to improve the city and just improve, I think, our standing regionally. And there are a lot of efforts to do that. We've talked about Arch grants in the past, doing a lot of work to keep startups here in St. Louis and give them a footing so they can get going. And a person we're talking to now is a friend and also the former executive director of Arch Grants, but now has a new job with 39 North Innovation District in St. Louis County. It's out there in Creve Coeur, which is it's an agricultural innovation district, and it is important to the region. And we'll talk to Emily Loza Bush now about what that means for the area and what we can expect moving forward. Emily, we appreciate you being with us today on KMOX.
Happy to be here.
So explain to us what 39 North is, what the name means, and why it's important for the region.
Yeah, absolutely. So 39 North it was named back in 2016. And the reason it's called 39 North is because we sit on the 39th parallel. And in addition to that and the meaningfulness of that, also our land-grant university in Missouri, Mizzou, also sits on the 39th parallel, and the Animal Health Corridor in Kansas City also sits on that 39th parallel. So the name is both indicative of the actual physical location of the district and also pays homage to the statewide focus on agriculture and how meaningful that has been to growing our state. And what it is a 600-acre innovation district that is focused on, as you said, anything in what we call the agri-food tech space. So this is companies that are working on technologies to help feed, fuel, and build the world. It was formed as kind of an idea and a concept in 2016 and has functioned largely with the support of a number of partners, including SLEDP, the Danforth Plant Science Center. Biogenerator has been a big partner in keeping the district functioning, the city of Creve Coeur. And in about 2022, there started to be more and more interest around what would it look like? Is there potential to spin this thing out as its own independent entity? What would that mean for the region? And as you said, it came because of a lot of momentum that is happening throughout the region to grow innovation, to grow our regional standing. In the St. Louis 2030 Jobs Plan that was created a couple years ago, there was a specific call out and initiative to grow innovation districts throughout St. Louis. So that is kind of what led us to announcing last night that 39 North is going to be rolled out as its own independent entity and join a constellation of innovation districts in St. Louis.
Emily, for some of us who maybe are not as business fluent as you are, and we're parsing through some of the language with this, can you help explain what, if any, relationship there now is between the anchor institutions, or if they're all just sort of receiving similar support from the district and they're not necessarily working together or collaborating in any way? Like, sort of, what is the relationship with each other within the district?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, and it's actually a bit confusing because sometimes when you hear anchor institutions and you hear a physical location or physical footprint, you think, oh, well, these must be literal anchor institutions that are all located within the district. And in this case, that is actually not what we mean when we say anchor institutions. So the 7 entities that came together to stand up this entity as its own independent organization are the City of Creve Coeur, SLEDP, which is the St. Louis Economic Development Partnership, Greater St. Louis Inc., Bayer Crop Science, CoverCress, Benson Hill, and the Danforth Plant Science Center. And so each of those entities was very strategically chosen because they represent an entity that can not only help get this thing off the ground and already has in many cases to a large extent, but also they have influence, they have strategic oversight. They will actually form the initial board of directors of the organization, with me functioning as the executive director. And the idea is that with the collective power of these public and private partners, we have the ability to not only have a powerful and strong voice right out of the gate locally, but we can do the same thing nationally and internationally. And a really big focus of ours at 39 North is building this district not just for St. Louis, but building it as an asset for the world that is based here and from which we can really make a difference as it relates to a huge need in our world to sustainably feed and fuel the future.
Emily Loza Bush is visiting with us here on KMOX with 39 North Agricultural Innovation District. One of the things that, and I mentioned this right off the top, is that there are a lot of people here in this area that are very interested in making the perception of this area better. And by perception, I mean the people who are living in different states, who are living in California or living in Idaho or whatever, Ohio, how they view St. Louis and what they see it as is part of the goal here to make, to help improve that, the way people view what St. Louis is and what opportunities are here.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I think that's a really interesting question because it is absolutely part of the goal. I think what we've learned also over time is that the best way to there's kind of two parts to changing the narrative, which is like what I kind of hear you asking in that question. And one part is the way that we talk about ourselves and the way that we are amplifying our message of what's happening here. But the first part of that is that we really have to have the meat, the things that are happening here in St. Louis that we can celebrate and that are different from anywhere else in the country or in the world. And 39 North really checks a lot of those boxes. It's actually fairly rare for an innovation district like this to exist and give startups and early stage ag tech and agri-food tech companies access to a lot of this really like high tech equipment and technology that they need to grow and they without having a university tie. And so what we offer here is access for startups that they wouldn't be able to get in many other places around the world. So there's absolutely a perception and a narrative component to this, but the real meat of it is what are we doing that then we can make sure that we are amplifying and talking about, nationally.
So what, how many other cities or regions have something like this?
Yeah, I mean, there's not a whole lot. There's different versions of, innovation districts, of course, have gained popularity over the last probably 20 years or so with Cortex here in St. Louis being a best-in-class example of what it can look like to put facilities and funding and amenities all in the same place to create that density around specific industries. But as it specifically relates to ag and ag tech, there's not a lot of other examples. Of course, there's excellent work happening in RTP. There's some work happening out of Iowa, and then internationally, there's some great examples as well. And our goal as we see ourselves growing is to actually see all of that as collaboration and partnership opportunity, not just here within St. Louis, but with our partners across the world.
And what I'm wondering, and I think a lot of people who are listening are probably wondering, what does this mean in terms of opportunities for career or employment for people who live here now, and how do they seek those things out?
Yeah, that's a really great question. So the great thing about starting and incubating and growing companies here in St. Louis is that it's a huge creator of net new jobs. And as we are thinking about growing the infrastructure and the footprint and the programming within 39 North, the workforce component of it is a really critical part of that. We've got great partners that are already doing that work throughout the region. BioSTL has a great kind of head start on the workforce component of ag tech and biosciences generally. So our goal will be to continue to build that pipeline out in partnership with the Danforth Center, in partnership with BioSTL that are already having these programs happen. How do we better make the connections with our startups, our mid-sized companies, and then our anchors, our large institutions as well?
Emily Loza-Bush, I appreciate your time. Thank you for visiting with us today. If people want information on this new organization, 39northstl.org is the website, 39northstl.org. Thank you for being with us today, and we'll talk again soon, maybe.
Sounds great. Thanks so much. That
is Emily Loza-Bush. I've known her for a very long time, and she's brilliant. She's very, very smart, and anything it seems like she has worked on has gone very well. And I mentioned Arch Grants being a really successful organization. It's in good hands now too. But this endeavor, I'm really wishing it well, because for me, I'm about the region. I'm about St. Louis as a destination, wanting it to be a destination, whether that's for travel. And I know that right now it is not perceived that way outside the area, but a destination for work, for living. If we can make it a destination for innovation, that is such a huge thing. And so I hope more organizations like this are successful. And I think this one will be. She's very, very good. All right. So when we come back, we're going to talk to, we're going to talk about Nate's other job, or it used to be his job, and how he somehow avoided being murdered. That's next on KMOX.
We go where you go. 1120 AM, 98.7 FM, KMOX.com.
Ray Magliozzi here for eBay Motors. Okay, easy now. You're teaching your kid how to parallel park. Ouch! Turns out he likes to do it by feel. Don't worry, eBay Motors has bumpers, trunk lids, license plate holders, and headlights. They've got lots of headlights. When you need parts, get it right the first time with eBay Guaranteed Fit. When you see the check, you know that part's going to fit. eBay Motors. Let's ride. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
Yes, we do have availability. Those dates for how many guests?
Andrea's Boutique Hotel is the destination to tie the knot.
Oh, you want the whole property?
She needs an assistant to catch the bookings bouquets.
249 guests, huh? Oh, and 3 dogs.
Indeed can help her hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. We instantly connect you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job description. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
When children were being fatally injured by window blind cords, Honor Law took on the manufacturers to have dangerous cords banned.
Call Onder Law Personal Injury Lawyers at 314 or 618 $9
Diamonds Direct's biggest sale all year is going on now with an extra 20% savings, an expanded selection, in-store designer appearances, and special financing. Imagine 20% off Diamonds Direct's already value prices on rings, earrings, bracelets, bands, colored gemstone jewelry, and thousands of engagement ring mounting. Meet the designers who've flown in with all new collections for spring. It's the most exciting event all year with extreme savings and exceptional value. Don't miss this once-a-year jewelry extravaganza. Details, showroom hours, directions, and more at diamondsdirect.com.
Remember your childhood piggy bank and the satisfaction you felt finally reaping the rewards of your diligent savings? With TrueHold, you can access your biggest piggy bank, your home's equity, and start enjoying the retirement you plan for right now without having to move. Here's how. TrueHold will buy your home for its best current value while home values are high. You get to bank all the cash now and live in your home for as long as you want. Plus, TrueHold covers all property taxes, insurance, repairs, and maintenance, too. And since Truehold pays your home's current value in cash now, it's yours to do whatever you'd like. Start enjoying your home's equity while values are high. Visit Truehold.com and discover how much Truehold will buy your home for today based on its best current value, not what's coming. Call 1-855-300-9993 or visit Truehold.com. The smarter, faster way to cash out on your home's value without moving. That's Truehold.com.
Work or play, KMOX is right there with you. We go where you go.
It's the Chris and Amy show or something. I don't know. Hey, Nate Gatter is in for Amy Markscourse today, who hold on a second. I just did the math a moment ago, and it turns out, she is on her 75th vacation of 2023. She's taken 75 two-day vacations. Anyway, she's going to be back tomorrow, and then I'll be out on Friday. It's not a vacation, just a day off. So Nate has informed me that he used to drive for Uber Eats, right?
Yeah, this was during, I was living in Cincinnati at the time.
Yeah.
And COVID happened, obviously, we all remember.
Yeah.
And mostly I was doing freelance sports broadcasting. And when COVID happened, it was a bad time to really be doing freelance anything that wasn't happening, work from home style, doing remote work. Certainly it was a bad time to be freelance sports broadcasting because sports, didn't happen for quite a while. So I turned to Uber Eats driving.
You did, which seems like a fun job. Our buddy Andrew Stoles is it DoorDash?
Yeah.
I think he's driving for DoorDash right now. It's all the same.
A sworn enemy of mine.
Is it?
Well, I mean, Uber Eats, rival companies and all that. I'm a company man.
Well, I have bad news for you.
Yeah.
Well, I guess good news for you, depending on how you look at it.
Oh, man.
In St. Petersburg, Florida, every story. This isn't funny. I don't know why I just giggled.
Yeah, we're starting this one with an odd tone.
This is not funny, but every story that's like this starts with these three words. A Florida man is charged with murder and other offenses in the slaying and dismemberment of an Uber Eats driver who had brought food to his house. This happened yesterday, or at least authorities said so yesterday. Oscar Solis Jr. is 30 years old, killed the driver during a delivery Wednesday. This must have been last week, I guess. Or did it happen early today?
No, it was a week ago. It was April 19th. They just announced it yesterday.
Oh, okay.
I think they took their time with this one before announcing for obvious reasons.
This story doesn't have the date that it happened, at least not in the first few graphs. It doesn't. So,
and if there's one thing you can trust from the show on KMOX, it's that we're going to at least read the first few graphs.
We'll read the first few ABC News graphs, and then we're just going to move on to the next thing. Pasco County Sheriff Chris Naco said at a news conference that the driver was killed as he made the food, and then the remains were brought the food to him. The remains of the person were found at the house in trash bags and a cooler. Let me ask you this. By the way, Naco says it was a horrific crime of passion. This was demonic. What he did was demonic. Have you ever experienced, clearly you weren't killed by anybody, but what was the weirdest thing you experienced on an Uber Eats trip?
Nothing that weird. So especially because I was doing it for the most part in the first year, maybe 18 months after COVID started. So by the end of 2021, I was doing little to none anymore. And so it was rare that I even interacted with a person. Most people at that time, it became commonplace for the default was just to leave the food outside somebody's door, on their doormat or whatever. Right. So I didn't even usually see anyone.
That's what I do. Like, just leave it downstairs. I'll get it.
So the only couple that I remember, one of them was very nice. The guy was like, hey, whatever you do not ring my doorbell, because the whole reason I'm ordering this is that he had typed this whole thing out. Like, I have my 4-month-old asleep on top of me and I can't get up and make any food or whatever. I want to minimize my movement. Do not ring the doorbell. The kid will wake up. Please don't. To the point that he had opened up the door to his house so that I could see him, and he's like, don't ring the doorbell. I'm coming. So that one was a little bit interesting. The worst one was, and this was nothing, at no point did I ever fear for my physical safety. I want to make that clear. It was a very nice job.
Yeah.
the worst stuff would be interacting with various restaurants and things if they didn't have stuff. As far as interacting with customers, a woman called me, and I still am unclear on how she had my personal cell phone number as a result of having delivered something at her house. She called me probably 30 minutes after I dropped off the delivery. It was some Chipotle, and was very upset. She left a voicemail. She was very upset at me for the fact that her husband and her orders were wrong. And I was like, well, this is July 2020. Chipotle closes the burrito bowl. Then they put this stuff in the bag.
Yeah.
And then they close the bag.
You don't
and
make the food.
They put a bunch of sealers on it that are deliberately placed there so as to make it impossible for me to open it without you knowing, because they want you to know that I have not opened it because I'm the seedy, sketchy delivery driver.
You're the messenger.
And they had the receipt on there. It was the correct number. It had all the correct stuff on the receipt. It had her name. And I dropped it off. And I just found myself thinking, not only, first of all, is this not my problem, but what's the alternative, right? I said this yesterday. Don't tell me the problem unless you have a solution. Would you have preferred that I not only opened up the bag, which they said not to open, but then opened up each of your individual burrito bowls and poked around in there to make sure it had the appropriate peppers?
Oh, that's what I'd do.
That's what you'd like. If I was delivering your Chipotle, that's what you'd
if
like
I were
me to
driving, I would say, look, I wanted to make sure this order was right. So I unfolded each burrito and I looked at the ingredients closely to see if they made it right.
Yeah.
Because that's the kind of, I care. I care about my customers and I want them to be happy. I want the service to be good.
Something tells me she probably would have left me an equally angry voicemail
then
had I done that.
Also, I tasted it. I tasted each one to make sure it was good. That's why there's a bite mark in it.
So you want to hear about my best delivery ever?
No.
Speaking
I don't
of,
know, maybe.
It was great. I was dropping off some Jersey Mike's for somebody. I was about halfway there, which happened to be right around my house at lunchtime. And they canceled the order, meaning I still got paid. And
you
I
got
to
to
keep
eat
the
it.
food. And I just stopped.
Oh, it's great.
I just stopped at my apartment. I had my lunch. It was great.
And then you complained about the order being wrong. You called Jersey Mike's and said this order was wrong.
No, I actually...
And they said it wasn't even your order.
I called the customer and I said, you didn't order this the way I like it at all.
That is exactly what you
Since
should
when
have
have
done.
I ever wanted tomatoes?
Andrew on the Dave Glover show at some point is going to tell his DoorDash story from today. It's pretty good. Or from last night, I guess. But later on today. So if you're listening on the Odyssey app, 1120 AM, 98.7 FM, you'll get to hear that later on during the Dave Glover show. You might as well just keep it here all the time. There's nothing better out there for you. Trust me. That's Nate Gatter. I'm Chris Ranji. John Rooney, voice of the Cardinals, is next.
I think there are a million interesting conversations to have.
There's always great conversation waiting on the Dave Glover Show.
Where I think we're going so very wrong is that we no longer read, we no longer research, we no longer study. Our version of that is Tucker Carlson or TikTok. Newsflash, get ready to get blown away. These people aren't always the most honest.
The Dave Glover Show, weekdays beginning at 1 on KMOX.
At Morgan & Morgan, America's largest injury law firm, our mission is to fight to get you more. Because when you get injured at work or in a car accident, you will need more to move forward. We have more than 800 lawyers and thousands of support staff and more offices nationwide than any other injury law firm. So far, we have recovered more than $15 billion for our clients. But don't take our word for it. Check out any of our more than 28,000 five-star Google reviews from our clients. Injured? Don't wait. Dial #law or visit forthepeople.com right now. Morgan & Morgan will fight to get you more. Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. When you call America's largest injury firm, you get the backing of a national firm, along with a dedicated team from your community, handpicked by us. When you need a fighter, you need us. Call America's largest injury law firm. Call Morgan & Morgan. forthepeople.com.
How are balloons made? Where did the dinosaurs go? Why is the sky blue?
Your kids asked you the tough questions because they trusted you. So how about another question for you? Do you have a trusted financial professional to go to for answers on your retirement? Questions like, how much do I really need to retire? When should I take my Social Security benefits? Could my taxes go up when I stop working? We'll leave those tough kid questions to you, but for your retirement questions, Heisey Advisory Group is the team to ask. Call them today at 314-328-4400. We all have important questions. Get your retirement questions answered with help from Heisey Advisory Group. Call now at 314-328-4400. That's 314-328-4400.
Investment advisory products and services made available through AE Wealth Management, LLC, a registered investment advisor, and Pine Ridge Advisors, LLC, a registered investment advisor with the SEC. AEWM and Pine Ridge Advisors, LLC are not affiliated companies.
At 11:30, it's sunny and 59 degrees downtown at the Arch. President Joe Biden and South Korean president are set to sign an agreement including plans to have U.S. nuclear-armed submarines dock in South Korea for the first time in decades. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says he and Chinese leader Xi Jinping have had a long and meaningful phone conversation in their first known contact since Russia invaded Ukraine. DHL is shutting down its Maryland Heights facility and moving it to the Kansas City area. That means 75 layoffs here. It's the DHL e-commerce unit that is closing effective June 3rd. And the forecast, 64 to 68 for the high today. Tonight, the low 47 for tomorrow. Cloudy with some showers, maybe a rumble of thunder, especially as we head late morning into the afternoon tomorrow with the high of 63 degrees. And then for Friday, some sprinkles early, sunny breaks in the afternoon with a high of 64. Sponsored by the Penn Mutual Life Insurance Company. Are you considering life insurance? Accelerated Penn Mutual's accelerated client experience makes applying for life insurance fast and easy. Ask your independent advisor or go to pennmutual.com/STL. 59 downtown. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Worldwide Technology, recognized as a great place to work for 12 years in a row, is hosting a supply chain career event on April 29th at their North American Integration Center in Edwardsville, Illinois, to connect with skilled professionals in the technology production and supply chain industries to fill dozens of roles. Positions include warehouse specialists and managers, production supervisors, configuration techs, and more. These jobs come with competitive pay, industry-leading benefits that even include your pets, and an award-winning culture with career development that gives you options to grow. Learn more and apply online at wwt.com/careers.
I studied Spanish in college and never got fluent. But then I tried Babbel.
Want the most effective way to learn another language? In just 15 minutes a day, Babbel's bite-sized lessons will have you learning another language in as little as 3 weeks.
Babbel is all conversation-based, so it gets you speaking quickly about things you actually talk about in the real world.
You'll really see a difference in how you can speak and how conversational you can be in just a few weeks.
Babbel isn't just lessons. You can listen to podcasts, play games, watch videos. You can even take live online classes with a language teacher. There are so many ways to learn with Babbel.
The lessons online and in the app make it easy to learn from pretty much anywhere.
University studies have shown that using Babbel for 15 hours is equivalent to a semester of college Spanish. If you want to learn a new language, there's no better way than Babbel. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Broadcasting from the Underlying Tree Lawyers. GetJim.com studios.
KMOX.
Now the John Rooney Conversation on KMOX. Sponsored by Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance. We are Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance. And if you're a Missourian, we're for you.
1-2 on Sable, the pitch. A swing and a high fly ball. That's hit deep center field. And it's gone. A game-winning homer for Blake Sable. The Giants came all the way back to beat Ryan Helsley and the Cardinals when they were down to their last strike. A home run by Sable, and the Giants win it 5-4.
Oi. Last night would have been a great night to go to bed early. I'm Chris Ranji with Nate Gatter this morning into the afternoon on KMOX. He is in for Amy. She'll be back tomorrow. We go to the guest line today. Radio voice of the Cardinals, John Rooney, is visiting with us for his regular Wednesday appearance at 11:30 in the morning. It is good to talk to you, John. That one sucked.
Well, it did. I had to stay for the whole thing.
Well,
and
you're being
and
paid,
to watch
John.
that
You
fly
have
out,
to.
And the idea, I guess, was to go with a lot more off-speed pitches, but it seemed to be one slider too many, and that sped up Sable's bat, and he hit a home run, and that's how that worked out. But errors figured in the game last night, and from a very unlikely source, the first two games in the series, with Tommy Edman making errors that led to costly runs. If it's not one thing right now, it's another, and it's baffling. It's very hard to figure out.
It's funny you say that about the pitch selection, because that was a lot of the reaction last night is, why are we, let's go fastball at some point here. It's slider, slider, slider. To me, it looked like Contreras is calling for something buried in the dirt, and instead he throws it middle in and it gets crushed. So is that more about execution, or is it about pitch selection in the moment?
Oh, it may be a little bit of both. It's kind of hard to tell at this point, and I guess very easy to second guess. But if he had dirted that one, that's one thing. And if he had thrown perhaps a high fastball, Sable strikes out, and the Cardinals are shaking hands on the field instead of walking off with their heads down after losing the toughest game, the toughest loss so far this season. And there have been many, but that one, the way they were able to build up a 2-run lead and come back. And I had a feeling they could steal that game because the Giants weren't doing anything through the course of the game to put any great distance between themselves and the Cardinals. And then the Giants ended up stealing it on the last pitch of the game.
How much do you believe in the idea that a loss like that, or a comeback win if you're on the other side, can do something for your team? I don't want to call it momentum because I don't know how much that exists in baseball with so many games played, but can it have any kind of effect on the psyche of a team?
Oh, it can. It depends on the makeup of the team and how the players look at it and how the coaches and how Oliver Marmol looks at it. Marmol's not going to let them get down. That's one thing for sure. He has stayed the course through all of this, feeling like the process is going to play out, that Goldschmidt and Arenado are going to hit, and Goldie scorched one off Brandon Crawford last night that drove in 2 runs that put the Cardinals in front. But they believe that this is going to turn at some point. Of course, it's almost like every movie. There has to be a low point before things pick up, and then, the heroes win in the end. Maybe that was last night, that they've reached a low point, and they'll turn it around. And they need a good start from Steven Matz tonight. It seems like one bad inning has done Matz in. Last night they got a good start from Jake Woodford, and they got a good start the night before from Montgomery. So I think those are positives that they have to build on, that if you didn't have those things going for you, it might be easy to say, oh, here we go again. It's just another new way to lose. But maybe they hit a low point, and that's what I'm hoping.
John, before we talk a little bit about what those positives might build into going forward, I wanted to ask you kind of an inside broadcasting question. When you call a walk-off home run against your team like that one, especially at, like you said, what has to be considered the low point of the season, when the Cardinals were a strike away from what might have otherwise been a big win, what's your philosophy on, and we just heard the call, but what's your philosophy on sort of balancing the excitement of the play with the fact that you're, of course, the voice of the Cardinals and hoping that the Cardinals could have won the game?
Well, I felt like somebody shot my dog when that one went out. That's exactly the way I felt about it. I travel with the guys, and we're around them and what's going on, and I'm broadcasting to a Cardinal audience. And I was excited for the moment, thinking that, all right, Helsley can put him away right here. And yes, they can shake hands on the field and celebrate a win instead of what they experienced last night. And from that standpoint, you call the play and then, sum it up and get out of the way.
Yeah, that's a really tough one, because it's got to take you. I mean, you're supposed to describe, and that's what the job is describe what's happening in front of you. But emotion gets involved too as you're watching. It would be almost impossible to not get caught up in it, even as a broadcaster.
I mean, even when I was doing a lot of national games, I didn't care who won, and you call the excitement of the moment, and then you sum it up and move on, because you're trying to cut it right down the middle as best you can. And you want to capture the excitement of the game, but you also want to give the accounts of the game as best you can. And with a local team, yes, you want them to win. But when the ball sailed over the fence in center field, it was a deflating feeling, not only for the players on the field, not only for us in the booth, but for about everybody around the world listening to that. It was not a good feeling at all. And yes, you do get caught up with that a little bit.
John Rooney visiting with us on KMOX. He is the voice of the Cardinals. You can hear him again tonight. And, we have spent a lot of time focusing on the pitching staff and primarily what's been going on with the rotation. When you look at the bullpen, are there any is there anything that concerns you about it? Or are you still looking at this like, hey, we're not even into May yet?
Well, Helsley hasn't been used all that much. That's a problem, and you have to balance. I know Oliver and Dusty Blake have to balance whether they overuse him when they do, where he's not available for 3 or 4 days. I like the way Giovanni Gallegos is going about things. Cabrera was absolutely wonderful last night, and he's getting his velocity back, and that's with regular work. Drew Verhagen is off to a pretty good start. He's had a couple of bumpy moments here on the road trip, but I'm not overly concerned about the health or what they're able to do out of the bullpen. I think Stratton's off to a pretty good start out there. He's had to kind of be the long man since Woodford was put into the rotation, and probably Woodford will go back to that when Adam Wainwright's available here before too long. But I don't have a lot of concerns about the bullpen, and I am seeing some strides from the starting rotation, and let's hope that's contagious and Steve Matz takes a step forward, because they really need him to get into a good groove.
John, you've been alluding already to some of the reasons for optimism, and I agree with you that there are a substantial number. Do you think is there anything you're excited about, or you think could improve, or you think is a silver lining, or some other reason for positivity that is being under discussed right now in St. Louis among the fans and maybe in the media?
Well, until they put things together, they're not going to get out of this. You have to have your good pitching with timely hitting and good defense. And that's what was strange about the last 2 games. I mean, Tommy Edman making errors, that just doesn't happen. Okay, he makes 1, but not 2. And yes, the ball was scorched that was hit off him and went into right field last night that started the rally for the Giants in the 9th. And Dylan Carlson making an error after an errant throw on a stolen base attempt. Carlson didn't pick up the ball cleanly, and Thairo Estrada went all the way around. He stole second, went to third on an error, and scored on an error. That was a run the Cardinals didn't need to give up. Until they can put their game together, until they can get it clicking. Because if one night you have great starting pitching, then you don't have timely hitting. Or like last night, good starting pitching and some timely hitting to take a lead, but then the bullpen falters. Those things have to start clicking, and when they do, then you'll see the results go in a different direction.
Well, obviously, John, this has snowballed for the Cardinals a little bit. Haven't won a series since they were in Denver against the Rockies in the early part of this month. Is it harder? They're in the middle right now of this 10-game road trip on the West Coast against Seattle, now in San Francisco, and then headed to L.A. to face the Dodgers. In your experience traveling with Major League ball clubs now for quite a long time, do you think it's even harder mentally, maybe physically as well, for guys to turn around a losing streak that's sort of snowballing when things aren't going their way in the middle of such a long road trip?
No, not this early in the year, I don't think. They have to face that game today, and they have to win that game today. That's the approach. It may sound simple. It may sound cliche-ish, but that's what they have to do. They have to come out to the park today, take care of things to put themselves in position to win and execute, and that's how you turn it around. You have to fight through it and then put up some W's. And the fact that we're in April, we're not in August or September where things could look pretty dire. I mean, you're in August and you're 7 or 8 games down and you're trying to chase your division leader, or you're trying to chase a playoff spot, period, then that makes it a whole lot more difficult, and it can go south even further, I think. But this early in the year, and yes, with every day that passes, it's not so early, but there is time to take care of tonight and then take care of tomorrow. I mean, the Pirates built a 7-game winning streak that finally ended. I mean, it has to start somewhere, and they got off on a nice roll, but there will be times they will struggle as well. And I think really with this schedule, as balanced as it is, playing everybody in baseball, you're going to see the standings bob and weave throughout the year. But it has to start with the game that you're playing today, and that's what the Cardinals have to concern themselves with.
Last thing we have for you, and you mentioned the Pirates, who right now on April 26th are in first place in the Central. They've only got a 1-game lead, but they are in first. The Rangers lead the West right now. Baltimore is in second place in the American League East. Of all the surprises that we've seen so far to start this season, are there any of these that you think could potentially hold?
I think with the balanced schedule, they might be able to take off and run with it at some point. I know baseball hopes that the Pirates are contenders, that they can put something together there. They have a great fan base that has followed a team that develops good players and then trades them away, and that's been their problem. Clint Hurdle did a really good job of changing the mindset when he was managing there, and he got them into the playoffs. And I know baseball would like to see that from the Texas Rangers and the others, but it is such a long season. And when you think that Arenado and Goldschmidt haven't hit for much power at all yet, they're going to. You know that. And that's what Ollie and the Cardinals are kind of hinging their bets on right now, that Miles Michaelis is going to be Miles Michaelis in the rotation, that Helsley will be a lockdown closer, that the bullpen will line up the way they wanted. And so far, it's worked out well. But what happens in April sometimes will fade by the time you get to June, and we'll see at that point. I'm still waiting to pass judgment until we get to about Memorial Day, and then you find out, I think, what team you have and what adjustments need to be made, and how you can go from there. But you don't want to get too far behind by the time you get to Memorial Day.
John Rooney, appreciate the time as always. Ball game tonight at 8:45. Pregame show then at 7:50. That'll be all here on KMOX. And I am putting this on you. Go call us a winner tonight.
Oh, of course you are.
Yeah.
And that's par for the course.
Yeah.
But I'm going to put it all on Ricky Horton.
Oh.
So I'll just pass it along. And then Jim Jackson.
Yes.
And then Mike Claiborne.
That's right. Ultimately, we all know
we are
this.
a team up there now. We are a team.
That's right.
We'll pass the concerns on to everybody else.
But ultimately, we know it's Claib's fault. Like, we know. Everybody knows.
I'll tell him. I'll be saying him here shortly. I'll tell him you said that. All right.
Thanks,
Take
John.
care.
That is John Rooney, radio voice of the Cardinals. Again, the broadcast tonight, it is a later one. But, man, that's the worst. Down to your last strike, or they're down to their last strike, and you give up a walk-off. There is no worse way to lose than that. There just isn't.
In obscure stat world, so it was Blake Sabol was the Giants rookie who hit the walk-off home run. I don't know if you're familiar, you definitely are, with the Cespedes Barbecue guys on Twitter. So they do this thing where
Cespedes Family Barbecue.
Yeah, they keep track of obscure stats that really only come up in baseball that some stat company puts out there anyway. Blake Sabol was the first rookie catcher in Major League history to hit a walk-off home run when behind in the count with his team down to its last out.
Oh, cool.
So he can really hang his hat on that
Cool.
one.
Glad to be a part of history.
You really feel like you are. When you see that ball going out, you're like, this is historic.
Like, come on, that can't. Oh, come on. Are you kidding me?
Opta stats, they're verified and everything.
Unbelievable. That's Nate Gatter in for Amy. I'm Chris Ranji. You're listening to KMOX.
We are Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance, and we're here for all of life's wins. Like when you get a new car, or new boat, or new driver, or when your son moves out, but your mom moves in, or you find out you're expecting again, or when one rental property turns into 2, then 20, or you realize they're all in Tornado Alley. Life is full of life events, so call your Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance agent or visit mofbinsurance.com to find an agent near you, and we'll make sure you have the right coverage for each of life's wins.
We are Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance, and we're for the people of Missouri, in good times and in bad. We're for Missouri families and Missouri communities. We're for giving back to those communities and lifting people up. And when Missouri weather rips through our state, we're for helping put back the pieces. We're for brighter days and new tomorrows. We are Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance, and if you live in Missouri, we're for you.
Celebrate 10 extraordinary St. Louis area women for their outstanding volunteer service and leadership at the 2023 Women of Achievement Luncheon at the Ritz-Carlton, St. Louis, Tuesday, May 9th. Doors open at 11:15 a.m. Learn more about this year's honorees and make luncheon reservations at WOASTL.org.
Hi, Kent Newbold for Newbold Toyota. Your car is worth more than ever before, so why trust the Amages for your servicing? Come see the factory-trained experts at Newbold Toyota in O'Fallon, Illinois, or newboldtoyota.com. you'll be sold on Newbold.
Katie Collier, owner of Katie's Pizza, turned a Kickstarter campaign into a pizza legacy. She shares her story on our latest podcast, PNC C-Speak, the language of executives. During COVID, Katie's Pizza continued to beat the odds, creating a thriving frozen food business and now working on a third location. PNC C-Speak shares the stories and innovative approaches of successful business leaders to give you ideas that spark growth in your business. Listen today at KMOX.com/PNC C-Speak. PNC C-Speak, the language of executives.
Men, if you're struggling with erectile dysfunction or PE and frustrated taking pills that don't work, Paramount Men's Medical Center offers breakthrough medical treatments that effectively treat your problem. 98% of patients experience immediate results during their first office visit. And for a limited time, your initial consultation and first treatment are completely free. Listen to a specialist in men's health.
I'm Dr. Brown. The physicians at Paramount Men's Medical Center offer the most advanced treatments that eliminate ED and PE. Now men are lasting 30, 60, 90 minutes or longer, regardless of age or medical history.
Guys, to eliminate your frustration in the bedroom, call Paramount Men's Medical Center now to take advantage of this exclusive limited-time offer. Your initial consultation and first treatment are totally free, and you'll see instant results right in the office. Call now, 314-720-8081. 314-720-8081. That's 314-720-8081.
Amy Mark Scores here for Genesis of St. Charles. If you are in the market for a Highline vehicle and you haven't checked out Genesis, you truly are missing out. Genesis of St. Charles is luxury's best kept secret. Right now, it's conveniently located in the St. Charles Hyundai showroom in St. Peters. That's located a quarter mile east off Mid-Rivers Mall Drive, just off Highway 70, and it's part of the St. Charles Automotive Group. St. Charles Hyundai, St. Charles Nissan, and Genesis of St. Charles. Now, they just broke ground on a brand new building that is set to open in the fall of 2023. But again, right now, you can visit Genesis of St. Charles in the St. Charles Hyundai showroom in St. Peters. It truly is one-stop shopping with the St. Charles Automotive Group. St. Charles Nissan, St. Charles Hyundai, and Genesis of St. Charles. You can also shop online at genesisofstcharles.com, genesisofstcharles.com.
More Amy, more Chris.
What is this weird show?
The Show on KMOX.
314-436-7900 is the number to visit with us on KMOX. It's the number to call. It's the number to text. And we hope that you do. We'd love to hear from you before the show is over today. We had a number of people who texted in about what we've discussed for the first hour plus of the show. And we did spend a lot of time on the mayor's address, who had the state of the city address, which is always a confusing term. The state of the city address from last night. Spoke about 45 minutes, talking about what's going on here and the vision for St. Louis. And, I think we all have our ideas of what will make this city better and what will improve it as a region. And I very much care of all the things regarding this city. I think the one component, I guess I would call it, that matters to me the most is that this is a destination place, whether it's for business or even travel, or just deciding to live here as a person. You look at the city of St. Louis or the region and go, that's the kind of area I want to live in, or like maybe we should think about going there. And I'm not saying we're ever going to be Nashville or Austin or a town like that is up and coming and people want to be in those areas. I don't expect that for us, but we got to be better than what we are. We have to be more appealing than what we are. And I think that's the most important thing. So where does it start? Does it start with the safety issue? And I think that's it for just about everybody. If this city felt safer for the general public, whether you live in St. Louis already or you live in the suburbs of the city, whatever it is, it starts there, right? It starts with feeling safer. And I wonder if sometimes we in this business do a disservice to that idea, because all we do is talk about how bad everything is and how much crime there is. And there is a lot of crime. There's more than there should be. Historically, though, it's not the worst it's ever been, but we talk about it like it is. We talk about it like it is so unsafe, and you just can't go anywhere in the city. And that's not to minimize the things that do happen here, because we know some things happen. We know cars get broken into. We know there is some violent crime, too much violent crime. We know about those things, but historically, we've been dealing with that for a very long time. I really don't know how to solve this problem. I suppose if I did, I'd be the mayor. Or
that'd be fun.
You know what? I would kind of like to be. I would like to be the emperor of Missouri.
I mean, Michael Kelly and John Hancock well. I think you could make that happen.
Well, I don't know if I trust them to get me elected emperor.
If they work together, it could happen.
Yeah,
it's a lot of institutional knowledge there.
Can we get back to, can I be emperor?
I mean, probably not. Could you be mayor? Technically, yes.
I guess I could. I wonder if I could win an election.
An election?
Any kind of election. Tyler
certainly
says no. What about school board, Tyler? Could I be on the school board?
There are some municipal elections. I mean, how many people really voted them?
Great question. Could I be an alderman? You know the problem with alderman? It would require me to show up to vote in the primary for myself, and I probably wouldn't do that.
It pays pretty well now, though.
What did that start already?
Being an alderman?
Was it?
I mean, it's
the new
imminent,
salary.
at least. I don't know when it starts, but
And
I mean,
it's 70, right?
78, I think.
78,
right?
that ain't
76.
bad.
They basically doubled it.
Okay.
70 something.
Am I allowed to hold another job, or is that off the table now?
I don't know that. We should have asked Joe that when you had him, and we didn't ask him.
Ah, dang it.
That was stupid.
That was really stupid.
Your ambition to be an alderman it started too recently. If you had thought of it a half hour ago, we could have made some progress.
I really screwed that up, like everything else. Yeah. Texter says, enjoying the show, listening over dance music during my gym workout. That's the best way to listen to the show.
We are nothing if not workout motivation.
Listen on the Odyssey app. You can listen in the gym.
That's how Chris listens.
Third hour of the show is coming up next.
How much do you love your home? If you're anything like me, then you know that your house is so much more than just a place to keep your stuff. It's where you hang out with your family. It's where you barbecue. It's where you come home from the end of a long day and just relax. If you love your home as much as I do, then you know that there's only one carpet cleaning company to trust with your carpet, tile, and upholstery and air duct cleaning, and that's my cleaning heroes at Zero Res. You know, Zero Res is the zero residue carpet cleaners that do not leave behind any of the dirt-attracting soaps and chemicals that other carpet cleaners use. Their friendly carpet cleaning technicians always walk me through their entire carpet cleaning process and make sure that I'm completely satisfied with my cleaning before they leave my house. It's really an amazing experience. If you haven't tried out Zero Res, or if it's been months since your last deep cleaning, then now is the time to call and take advantage of the spring flash sale and get a free hallway with any of our carpet cleaning packages. With 3 rooms, zero resified, starting at just $129. Don't wait for the weather. Book now to beat the rush. Call Zero Res right now, 314-474-2020, or go online at zeroresstl.com and say that you want the DGS special.
Siding Express can totally transform the look of your home by installing Hardy Shake, board and batten, or a stone accent to make it your dream home. Siding Express is an elite preferred James Hardy contractor. Go to sidingexpress.com to schedule a free, no-obligation consultation today.
Hey, it's the Cardinal Cowboy in Renner Garage Door. Renner's been servicing and installing garage doors in St. Louis since 1966. Residential, commercial, service and repairs, RENNER, forward and back. Renner, the company that does garage doors. RennerDoorSTL.com. Giddy up!
The Biz Dash is St. Louis's healthiest happy hour. Combining fitness and fun, it's a perfect team bonding activity for any size business. All levels of runners and walkers are welcome. Join us this spring at City Park, the home of St. Louis City SC. With food, music, drinks, and more, the Biz Dash is the ultimate office party. Thursday, May 25th at City Park in downtown St. Louis. Create your company team today at STLBizDash.com. That's STLBizDash.com.
KMOX, KECK HD2, K254CR, St. Louis.
The legendary voice of St. Louis, KMOX. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Fairwinds River's Edge is an award-winning independent living community located in the heart of St. Charles. Voted Best Independent Living by U.S. News and World Report, Fairwinds River's Edge provides the life-enhancing independent living services you need to support your best self. We believe that joy isn't just for the young. It's for the young at heart. With services and amenities handling life's necessities, you can dance and enjoy live entertainment at happy hour. Play a competitive game of beanbag baseball with your neighbors. Participate in an aquatic fitness class at a warm water pool. Or go out to Crown Candy for lunch. Say goodbye to home maintenance, cooking, and cleaning, and hello to the fun. In our active community for adults 55 plus, you'll cultivate connections and make meaningful memories in a community that feels like home. Join the fun at Fairwinds River's Edge. There's always something going on. Call them to see what's coming up next. 636-754-2317.
Awarded 2023 Large Market Radio Station of the Year by the Missouri Broadcasters Association, KMOX.
At 12 noon, it's sunny and 60 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun. Our top story this hour, a business in the Del Mar Loop erupted into flames this morning.
A smoky haze lingers over the Del Mar Loop in University City as numerous fire crews remain on the scene of a fire that began at the Three Kings pub about 3 this morning. While the flames seem to have subsided, crews continue to pour water over the rooftop. Fire crews from Ladue, Brentwood, Monarch Fire District, Olivet, Afton, Clayton, Richmond Heights, and St. Louis City all responding to assist University City with this 3-alarm fire that destroyed the Three Kings pub. It's believed that fire began in the kitchen. In the Loop, I'm Debbie Monterey, KMOX News.
A new member joins the executive leadership of St. Louis's MLS team.
Big news from St. Louis City SC. They have named a new president and general manager. Diego Gigliani will report to CEO Carolyn Kindle. Originally from Argentina, Gigliani was raised across the United States and Europe, spent the last 10 years with City Football Group. That is the largest global football organization in the world, parent company of English Premier League powerhouse Manchester City. Lutz Pfannenstiel will remain in his role as sporting director overseeing the soccer operation. Gigliani will manage all day-to-day operations of the club across sporting, revenue, marketing, experience, operations, administration, and community departments. I'm Tom Ackerman, KMOX Sports.
President Biden has officially welcomed the president of South Korea to the White House. CBS's Linda Kenyon is there.
The arrival ceremony on the South Lawn of the White House was complete with the fanfare befitting a U.S. ally, with the theme,
"Nothing is beyond our ability to reach when our nations and our people stand united."
As President Biden spoke of the strong relationship between the U.S. and the Republic of Korea, President Yoon Suk-yeol, through an interpreter,
"Thank you for your kind invitation for my state visit."
The official state visit comes as the U.S. has agreed to deploy nuclear submarines to South Korea as part of the ongoing U.S. commitment to defend it from North Korean threats. Linda Kenyon, CBS News, the White House.
CBS News correspondent Jim Krasula has details of the latest legislation aimed at transgender people.
North Dakota Republican Governor Doug Burgum has quietly signed a bill that limits access to bathrooms, locker rooms, and shower rooms for transgender and gender nonconforming people in several state facilities. That includes state-run colleges and universities, prisons, and other correctional facilities for youths and adults.
The KMOX Business Desk, Boeing hopes to get back in the air.
Boeing says that later this year it plans to boost production of its cash cow jet, the 737. The company reassured investors that a recently discovered manufacturing defect won't hurt its delivery and cash flow targets. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
Dow from Stifel's down 24 points to 33,506. Westbound 40 at the Boyle exit, there is a person down in a grassy area. Fire department is responding, so just watch out. Westbound 40 at the Boyle exit.
Thinking our high temperature today will be in the mid-60s across St. Louis, and I'm going to call it partly sunny. Tonight, lots of clouds, 45. Thursday, mostly cloudy. A couple of showers from time to time, no all-day rain. And the focus on the scattered showers will be in the afternoon on Thursday. 62 will do it for the high. Friday, partly sunny, nothing more than a couple of spotty showers, 68. Saturday, clouds, a better chance of some showers around Saturday and a cool 62. I'm meteorologist Dave Murray for the Voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Sponsored by Hello Garage. It's 60 in Florissant, 60 St. Peter's, 60 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Hello Garage elevates your garage, adding additional entertainment space for graduation parties or other summer get-togethers you have planned. In as little as 48 hours, get organized and start planning that party. Visit them online at hellogarage.com.
The Show, sponsored by the Cardinals. Cardinal tickets for 2023 are on sale now and start at just $6. Info@cardinals.com. Time to rewind the show. This is the show recap.
I learned to work with Republicans on the things we agree on, and if we disagreed, we did so without becoming disagreeable and nasty with each other. Were we on the opposite side in elections? Absolutely. But afterwards, we understood that when we returned to Jefferson City, we had to continue the work of the people. St. Louis, what's going on in Jefferson City right now is definitely not the work of the people. And it's not for the people, nor is it for our babies.
That is Mayor Tashara Jones in her State of the City address last night, talking about the issues facing this city. And among those things that she talked about, economic justice was one of her biggest facets that she was going after. And I agree with her in the sense that if we don't solve the problem of people not really having opportunity, large sections of people around the area not having opportunity, there will continually be cycles of crime here, no matter how much we arrest or how much we prosecute. And she then went on to criticize Jefferson City for the role they are trying to play in what's happening here and the ways to fix it.
To Jefferson City, a 12-year-old receiving gender-affirming health care is a bigger threat than a 12-year-old with an assault rifle. To Jefferson City, a woman cannot be allowed to make her own health care choices. And to Jefferson City, diversity is dangerous, history must be buried, and our centers of learning, our beloved schools and libraries cannot be trusted. I'll say this. If Ruby Bridges was strong enough to endure racism, our children are strong enough to learn about it.
So she talked about the state taking over the police force here in the city and the state trying to do, and I believe the state has an argument. Everybody in Missouri has an argument about making the cities, making Kansas City, which is also very dangerous and having one of its worst violent crime years in a long time. We don't talk about Kansas City, though. We talk about St. Louis. Everything is about St. Louis. But everybody in the state has a stake in these two cities, I believe. Her disagreement is whether or not the state taking over the police department, and she did talk about that last night, whether or not that should happen and whether or not it would fix the problem. And to be honest, I don't have confidence that just because Missouri and the people downstate or outstate are helping run the police in our city is going to make a huge difference in the crime here. Why do I think that? Well, 10 years ago, when it was under state control, what was the crime like in St. Louis? The answer? Bad. It's been bad. It's been bad my entire life. And it wasn't until fairly recently that this state got out of being under state control, this city. I don't have any confidence that it's going to make a real dent in what's going on downtown, what's going on in the city limits, if the state of Missouri takes over. So on that, I do agree. But I'm not sure there were any short-term solutions that were offered and laid out last night that make me feel confident there's going to be any meaningful change here anytime soon as it pertains to crime.
You made the point, as you know, you're sort of following up on the point you made earlier on in the show, which is about her speech focusing on long-term problems, long-term solutions. And as we said, it's understandable that she would want to make sure we're not losing sight of that and getting just caught up in a sort of daily, weekly, monthly cycle. At the same time, do you think there's maybe a little bit of political strategy there in Mayor Jones trying to focus more on these very big picture problems for which she individually cannot be blamed because they, as you said, have plagued St. Louis for decades, rather than the more micro problems that have been in the news recently, specifically, as we talked about with Joel Vollmer, the Ward 5 alderman, the circuit attorney's office, which does seem like something she could be doing more about, or at least could be weighing in on.
I believe she's supposed to have a minimum of 15 lawyers, and I believe there's only 2 on staff, and I don't know that they are qualified to even handle the trials that are being backed up and backed up. This is a game. It's a what do you call that? Where you stack that? I'm an old man. I forget. Is it jungle or what?
Jenga?
Jenga, where they're going to the one kid's going to fall, and it is just going. The whole office is going to collapse. This is a disaster, and it needs to be addressed.
It does need to be addressed. I'm not entirely confident that fixing that problem is going to substantially fix the actual crime problem. What it will do is those individual crimes that take place that aren't being prosecuted, or the people who are waiting for trial, they're going to get some relief if we have a competent circuit attorney's office. But I'm talking big picture. It will make a difference. I'm just not sure how noticeable of a difference it would be if they replaced the circuit attorney. And by the way, Vollmer said, and I agree with him on this, I'd rather she just step down. I don't want the state to be able to come in and say, all right, we're removing you from office. I want her to leave, and I want her to willfully leave. Or I would like for it to be up to the people again, because I think, I don't know for a fact, but I think this time around, if there were to be an election now, an emergency election, should we retain the circuit attorney, I don't think she gets voted back in. But again, I don't know. That might just be gut feeling. But more people have paid attention now over the last several months with what is going on in that office and know the name Kim Gardner now, that maybe there would be a change of heart.
I really enjoyed talking to Alderman Vollmer. I thought he was very reasonable in his approach. I agree with him about some of what particularly those points. I will say I disagreed with him, or at least I was skeptical of his argument that it would make a real difference. Like you said, not only big picture, but in terms of people's perception. What we're really talking about there is people in St. Louis County, in St. Charles County. How do they feel? Do they feel safe or not coming downtown? Maybe to a lesser extent, people who live in the outskirts of St. Louis City proper as well. And I don't think a lot of those people knew Kim Gardner's name, to your point, before February.
No, they didn't.
A lot of those people were making the same arguments about how St. Louis was not safe enough for them last year and the year before and the year before that. I don't think a different circuit attorney tomorrow means that all of a sudden those outskirts county people are flooding into downtown because now it's safe that we have X, some person they've never heard of, as the new circuit attorney.
Oh, no, that absolutely will not happen. It will take, honestly, our real solutions are going to be long-term solutions that don't have effects for years. Nothing is going to change anything substantially over the course of a few months. It will take years and years and years of people feeling like, okay, the city's safe, maybe we'll reinvest in that area.
Though I thought
that's what's going to take.
I thought his strongest point, though, and you alluded to it earlier, was the irony of Kim Gardner and a lot of progressive prosecutors running on the idea of not necessarily decriminalizing things, but reducing the number of prisoners we have, both because of the toll it takes on neighborhoods and because of the resource toll it takes on municipalities. And yet the fact that the circuit attorney's office has struggled to speedily prosecute and process people in jails means that we have hundreds more people, in many cases, being held without as much due process as quickly as you'd like.
Yeah, that's very anti-progressive.
It's extremely
is to keep people
it's regressive.
To keep people in jail waiting for trial when they're not getting the trial. That's not good at all. Well, I guess what my argument, and I think you're onto it here too, is that if we think replacing her is the panacea, that we do it and like, see, the crime's fixed now, everything's better in St. Louis. If anybody has that feeling, well, you're going to be hugely disappointed.
No, I think
they could find the most conservative, hardline, no forgiveness whatsoever prosecutor to take that office, and we are still going to be a high crime city. The only way we fix our problems, and we have to tackle short-term solutions that at least we have to look at it like this. If you have cancer, taking Tylenol or a painkiller is not making the cancer go away. It is alleviating symptoms of your cancer, though. You got to go through chemotherapy. Like, you've got to go through a long-term, substantial treatment plan to make your cancer go away. It doesn't work by taking Tylenol or any of the oxys. It will just alleviate the symptoms. And I feel like what a lot of people think would happen is we just have to alleviate the symptoms and everything's going to go away. It's not. We have to address. Well, first of all, we have to acknowledge, and that means everybody has to accept the reality that there are deep-rooted issues that lead us to the problem of crime. And I don't care if you want to admit it or not. There is no question whatsoever that poverty leads to crime. There is no debate. It is 100% true. And if we have too many impoverished people, we're going to have a lot of crime. And it will just be a never-ending cycle, as I said earlier, of poverty, crime, punishment, jail, poverty, crime, punishment, jail. It's just going to go on and on and on and on for years and decades like it already has. If we really want to fix the crime issue, we have to have a long-term solution for impoverished areas in this city. And if we don't do it, the crime will never go away. So either we grow up and acknowledge the fact that we have a serious problem as it pertains to poverty, and we need to address it, or we can pretend like it doesn't exist and that's stupid and nonsense and we just need more cops and we need more arrests and more prosecution. In that case, we will have those things. We'll have more arrests. We'll have more prosecution. We'll have more cops. We're also going to keep having more crime. It's not going to go away unless we address root causes. That's the bottom line.
Before we take our break, Chris, I'm still requesting, and I've requested this a few times, 314-436-7900. If we have any texts, calls, voicemails from somebody who wants to make the case for why they're still supporting Kim Gardner, why they still want Kim Gardner in there, why they would vote for her today. I'd like to hear that.
I don't know that I've heard anybody do that other than we elected her. The state shouldn't be allowed to take her away because we elected her.
Which is a pretty good argument. I just want to know why you individually, not you, Chris, out there are still supporting her. I'd love to hear it.
That's Nate Gatter. I'm Chris Ranji. I want to talk more about residency requirements for the city of St. Louis and whether or not lifting those requirements for working for a city entity, police, fire, which I guess is already kind of a thing, government, if that will help, if that will make the problems here alleviate a little bit. We'll talk about that coming up next on KMOX.
2 ways to listen to KMOX in your car. 98.7 in the city, 1120 a.m. further out. The voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
As the familiar tune fills the air, joy radiates along with the heat of flickering flames. You make a wish for another year surrounded by the ones you love. With each passing year, the compassionate team at Prairie Cardiovascular will be by your side with heart care that allows you to focus on what matters most. A life well lived. Prairie Cardiovascular, here with you.
Spark St. Louis is the newest collaborative co-working office space located in the PwC Pennant Building at Ballpark Village. Spark supports local entrepreneurs and corporate professionals and features over 80 private offices, day pass options, monthly networking events, conference room, and special event amenities, while offering an innovative approach to city life where you can live, work, and watch the Cardinals play all within the neighborhood at Ballpark Village. Schedule your tour today by visiting Spark St. Louis online at spark-stl.com.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Injured? Just dial pound law. That's all. Morgan & Morgan, America, and now the universe's largest injury law firm.
Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
When you retire, you'll probably leave a lot behind. The daily grind, the long commute, maybe even the alarm clock. But one thing you will take with you, a tax bill. Oh, and did you know that income taxes could be your single largest expense in retirement? The good news is Steve All and his team at the All Financial Group can show you how it's possible for you to pay less to Uncle Sam with the right tax planning. Join the All Financial Group for an exclusive educational workshop focusing on taxes in retirement, May 9th or May 11th. These events are complimentary, but you must qualify to attend. Call 636-230-8824 and send your future self a gift in the form of lower taxes. 636-230-8824 or go to yourmoneymattersstl.com. Investment advisory services offered through Brookstone Wealth Advisors, LLC, BWA, a registered investment advisor. BWA and the All Financial Group, LLC, are independent of each other. Insurance and annuity products are offered through Stephen All, Missouri Insurance Licensed 803-9738.
Play ball!
Step up to the plate by donating your old car to Goodwill and get 4 box seats to a Cardinal game. Your car donation to Goodwill will help people right here in St. Louis. Donating is easy, towing is free, and you get a tax receipt. Plus, you'll get Cardinal tickets, compliments of the St. Louis Cardinals. Donate online at mersgoodwill.com. Must mention promo code Cardinals. Hurry while supplies last.
In 2023, Major League Baseball is getting some fan-powered updates. You spoke, MLB listened. And this season, you'll be getting a faster pace of play with the pitch timer, more balls in play from shift restrictions, and more action on the base paths from some of your favorite athletes due to bigger bases. Tried and tested in the minors, these new rules are bringing extra excitement to the game you love. Unbelievable! Learn more at MLB.com/rules.
KMOX, the 2023 Large Market Radio Station of the Year, recognized by the Missouri Broadcasters Association. KMOX, we were built for this.
Chris and Amy today, only half of us are here. Nate Gatter is in for Amy Marks Kors. I'm Chris Ranji. We mentioned we want to talk to you, 314-436-7900. Briefly, I do want to mention that there is an effort to, as of right now, police and fire don't have to live in the city limits in order to work in the city. And that was something that was done back in 2020. But there is an effort to extend that for even longer, to extend it to 2028. Right now, it's for 3 years. So there's an effort to extend that a little bit longer, but then also maybe some other workers in the city to not force them to relocate into the city in order to work for the city. Look, in an ideal world, a lot of cities already do have this rule that you have to live in the city limits in order to work for an entity there, whether it's police, fire, city hall, or a city worker job of some kind. A lot of cities have that, but they're usually bigger ones. Like Chicago, New York, they've got those sorts of caveats. But for a city like this that is struggling for workers across the board, I would say temporarily there should be no restriction on that. And until we start to fill those positions, and maybe when there's more demand for those positions, then we put that requirement back in that you have to live in the city. But until that happens, I don't know that it should be a thing right now. You should be allowed to work here wherever you live and not have to relocate, because for a low-paying job, and some of these are jobs that pay in the mid-30s, they're not great jobs, but they are jobs. You can't reasonably ask a person to relocate from somewhere else for that kind of salary.
And you're not necessarily accomplishing your community policing goal of, the sort of utopia you imagine of a beat cop walking around in his own neighborhood where he knows all the kids and he knows all the parents, and that sort of, straight out of the 60s kind of Rockwellian America that we're imagining. Because as it is, you could still have somebody living in Lindenwood Park or St. Louis Hills and policing or otherwise working in North St. Louis, which I don't think is accomplishing your community policing guidelines anyway. Whether that person is living in Lindenwood Park or Shrewsbury doesn't seem material to me.
Let's talk to Tom in Overland with us now on KMOX. Hi, Tom.
Hi, thank you for answering my call.
Sure.
I have a couple of comments on the crime rate. I was stationed in Norfolk, Virginia in 1969. A career sailor there asked me, when he heard I was from St. Louis, he asked me how I could stand it. And I asked him, what do you mean? And he said, the crime rate is so high. Now, he had never been in St. Louis or in Missouri. And this was 1969. And the other element of this is about 20 years ago, the city of St. Louis had 200 billets to fill for police, and they decided not to fill them and to leave them go for budget reasons. That was about 20 years ago or so, and now we need 200 more police officers, and somehow we keep doing the same thing the same way, and we keep ending up expecting something different to happen.
Well, I agree with you. A lot of things actually have to change. There isn't any question about that. I do think there needs to be an increase in officers, and there is effort to pay officers more in the city, which is undoubtedly a good thing. I make the argument, and I've made it with the aldermen who have given themselves a raise. I'm not against the idea of an alderman in the city of St. Louis making a better salary than what they did, and they've raised it to 78, right? I think is what it is. And some people might think that's too much, and I would listen to that argument. But if it's a job that you want to entice people to apply for, if you want to get the best, or at least more talented people to run for aldermen, to be police officers, because we want good people to be cops too. You don't just want anybody off the street, give them a gun and a badge, throw them through a couple of months of training and say, go get them, kid. You don't want that either. You want good people to apply for those jobs. The way to do that, compensate them better. And if you don't compensate them better, they're not going to take those jobs and they're not going to apply. They'll go do something else. So you have to pay them better. And I hope that works, and I hope that makes some of these issues go away, which I don't know. I'm not confident, like I said, that it's going to be a dramatic shift anytime soon. We'll get another quick call in. Howard in Kirkwood is with us. Howard, in 30 seconds, what do you have?
Well, instead of trying to come up with all of these social excuses, I think one solution is a parent of a minor who's out there robbing, stealing, and holding people up should be penalized as well, and get their attention, and then they'll start there at the grassroots level with them coming down on their own kids. I was held up at gunpoint and set by a 17-year-old, and because they raised the age to 18 a few months before, he was tried as a minor. I would have been just as dead if he pulled the trigger when he was 17 as if he were 27. There's no accountability from the parents whatsoever, whether it's the biological father or otherwise. Start there.
Well,
and
Howard, I appreciate the call. We need to get running here. But I take exception to the idea these are all excuses. We're talking about reasons.
Well, we really veered there at the very end.
We did. The reason that, whether or not you want to admit it, I'm telling you, poverty is a huge problem and a huge driver of all of this stuff. It's not an excuse. It's a reason. Do you want to address the problem or not? And if you want to address the problem, you need to accept what the causes of the problems are. Not all of them, but some of them. Guess what? We got tacos in the house. Mission Taco. There's a really cool event coming up. We're going to talk about that with them next on KMOX.
Hi, it's Tom Ackerman for Ophthalmology Associates, 314-966-5000, 12990 Manchester Road, just a half mile west of 270. I was there this year for my annual eye health examination, and I'm so happy that I did. Not only is my vision in good shape, but now I have peace of mind that I have good health. You see, an eye health examination can detect many health issues like diabetes or high blood pressure. So it's nice to know that they were able to check me over. Also, it was covered by my medical insurance, and I did not realize that the first time that I went for an annual eye exam. So that's terrific. Doctors Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, and Andrew Royer, very thankful for them. Ophthalmology Associates, the doctors, 314-966-5000. You should also schedule your eye exam and reach out to them. And when you do, tell them that Tom Ackerman sent you to Ophthalmology Associates. Also online at youridoc.com.
If you're thinking about selling your St. Louis area home, you might be a bit overwhelmed by the process, especially in this market.
Take it from me, Debbie Monterey. I strongly recommend that you call and spend 5 minutes getting to know Gloria Liu with your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Gloria understands that you have questions and that selling your home can be stressful. Gloria has mastered the home selling process with her Guaranteed Sold program. It simply states Gloria will sell your home at your agreed to price and time frame, or Gloria will buy it. So what's Gloria's secret? Gloria already has the buyers. Fact is, your home may already be sold. Let Gloria show you how she nets her sellers more money and how she sells faster on average. Need more proof? Check out Gloria's 5-star reviews and get moving. Call Gloria Liu today at 314-325-6888, 314-325-6888, or online at gloriahasthebuyers.com. Conditions apply. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
At 12:30, it's partly cloudy and 62 degrees downtown at the Arch. The Republic Services Recycling Center caught fire this morning at Bayless and 55. Lee May Fire says there was a large amount of flames and smoke inside a compactor, including belts and debris. The sprinkler system knocked a lot of the flames down before they arrived. Crews dug through debris looking for hidden fires. U.S. officials say the ISIS leader who spearheaded the suicide bombing at the Kabul airport that left 13 U.S. service members and about 170 Afghans dead during the chaotic U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan in 2021 has been killed. National Security Council spokesman John Kirby says this is just the latest loss for ISIS.
He was killed in a Taliban operation, which is another in a series of high-profile leadership losses that ISIS-K has suffered this year.
Avocados are cheaper, but guac is not.
Higher prices and lower avocado costs helped Chipotle's first quarter earnings beat Wall Street estimates. It's the latest proof that consumers are paying up despite higher prices. Courtney Donahoe, Bloomberg Radio.
The forecast from Dave Murray for today, high 65. For tonight, the low 45. Tomorrow, some showers, especially in the afternoon with a high of 62. Sponsored by the Penn Mutual Life Insurance Company. Times are always changing, but Penn Mutual stands the test of time. The 176-year Young Mutual Company is leading the way in life insurance. Ask your independent advisor or go to pennmutual.com/STL. It's 62 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Men suffering from erectile dysfunction or PE, regardless of age or past medical history, you'll see instant results on your first visit at Paramount Men's Medical Center. And for a limited time, your initial consultation and first treatment are totally free. Call now, 314-720-8081.
Broadcasting from the Underlaw Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studios.
KMOX.
Worldwide Technology, recognized as a great place to work for 12 years in a row, is hosting a supply chain career event on April 29th at their North American Integration Center in Edwardsville, Illinois, to connect with skilled professionals in the technology production and supply chain industries to fill dozens of roles. Positions include warehouse specialists and managers, production supervisors, configuration techs, and more. These jobs come with competitive pay, industry-leading benefits that even include your pets, and an award-winning culture with career development that gives you options to grow. Learn more and apply online at wwt.com/careers.
I studied Spanish in college and never got fluent. But then I tried Babbel.
Want the most effective way to learn another language? In just 15 minutes a day, Babbel's bite-sized lessons will have you learning another language in as little as 3 weeks.
Babbel is all conversation-based, so it gets you speaking quickly about things you actually talk about in the real world.
You'll really see a difference in how you can speak and how conversational you can be in just a few weeks.
Babbel isn't just lessons. You can listen to podcasts, play games, watch videos. You can even take live online classes with a language teacher. There are so many ways to learn with Babbel.
The lessons online and in the app make it easy to learn from pretty much anywhere.
University studies have shown that using Babbel for 15 hours is equivalent to a semester of college Spanish. If you want to learn a new language, there's no better way than Babbel. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
It's Chris and Amy on KMOX, but Amy's not here. Where is she? Who cares? She's in New York. We love Amy. She'll be back tomorrow. Nate Gatter is in her place today. I'm Chris Ranji. Hello. It is a fun Wednesday here. Hope you're having a great hump day. There's a cool event coming up here in St. Louis, and a friend of the show, Mission Taco Joints, Taco Libre competition. So in studio now, Alex Baldera, who is the operations support director at Mission Taco, and also Joe McMahon, the culinary operations director, is with us here in studio. And you guys, you brought treats. That's not why we had you in. We didn't have you in to bring us treats.
You
we
say
had you
that
in
every time, and
They
we
always
know
say.
the deal.
Yeah.
We know the deal.
Yeah.
So that means one time you guys have to not bring treats and then see if he invites you back. You got to call his bluff.
Well, but I get hungry too.
Yeah, everybody gets hungry.
Well, hey, thank you guys again for having us on the show. We love being here. Now through Sunday, May 28th, we're hosting our second annual Taco Libre Showdown competition. It is the ultimate neighborhood competitions between all of our stores. Everybody there got to do some testing and trying of different ingredients. And I'm going to let Joe kind of explain how we did a chopped style scenario to create these tacos.
Yeah, thanks, Alex. So as Alex mentioned, this is our second time doing it. We learned a lot last year from the first time. So this time we decided to make it a little bit more fun. And we did it kind of like chopped Iron Chef style, where we had about 9 ingredients lined up with covers on them. We got all the kitchen managers and general managers together a few months ago, and they got to pick their secret ingredient. So it was a little more investment into a little more fun in making the tacos. And it was everything from eggs to potatoes to different kind of meats, different seafoods. So we got a pretty cool variety.
Yeah, even sweet plantains, one of the tacos we have in front of you right now.
He just opened that, and
It smells
my
great, right?
eyebrows had an involuntary reaction.
I need you to close that right quick so that we can get to it later. It's a. How do you come up with the ingredients? Was it just was there any reasoning behind it?
There was not a whole lot of reasoning behind it. The chef owner and the culinary team, we just kind of picked a few different proteins because last year everybody did chicken, and we wanted to avoid that this year. So we just tried to pick a few staple ingredients and some more creative ones too.
Tell a bunch of restaurant people that they're competing, they're going to try to pick something that will sell, not something that's creative. So we tried to inspire them a little bit more and get their brains thinking to create something tasty in all of our neighborhoods.
So each location has a different taco, right? That's what's
Correct.
going on. And how did each location decide which ingredients they were going to go for?
It was they just kind of drew straws basically.
Okay.
Yeah. It was kind of random.
It was given to
We put on a big show. There were fog machines, a luchador. I mean, it was a fun day.
That's really great. This goes on for how long?
Until May 28th, so a
Okay.
little over a month.
All right, tell us about what we can expect, because again, Nate mentioned the tacos that are in here. So describe them. I can smell them. Describe them.
So there's currently six locations open and running this competition. I'll just kind of run through each of them real quick, starting with the Soulard location. It's called the Getting Piggy with It. Their secret ingredient was pulled pork, so they actually partnered with Bogart Smokehouse.
Oh, it's right across the street. Yeah.
They partnered with Bogart Smokehouse. They're using their cranberry cayenne barbecue sauce, pulled pork. They made a house coleslaw, and they've got some sweet and spicy pickles.
Oh, baby.
So it's a pretty good barbecue taco. Heading over to the Del Mar Loop location, they had the sweet plantains, and they got a little more creative than everyone else. They actually made a dessert taco. It's called the Choco Plan Taco. So they did fried sweet plantains, vanilla custard, our Mexican chocolate sauce, whipped cream, and cinnamon sugar on a cinnamon sugared fried tortilla.
Well, what about the St. Charles location?
St. Charles is going to have a queso frito. So their ingredient was panela cheese, very similar to mozzarella in flavor and texture, but we beer battered that in Submission IPA beer batter. And that's getting chipotle aioli, lettuce, pork belly carnitas, and pickled jalapenos.
Kind of like a cheese stick on a taco.
It's really good.
A cheese stick on a taco?
That's exactly right.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Do you have one of those, or?
That one we didn't bring.
Come on, man.
It's kind of a long distance to bring fried cheese.
It is. I get it. You're
Yeah.
right. And and in Kirkwood, there's another barbecue centric one, right?
Yes. So they had beef birria, and they made another iteration of a barbecue taco. They made a more of a tangy, zesty barbecue sauce in-house, then a radish and carrot coleslaw. And yeah, that one's actually pretty good too. It's like a little different on the barbecue side. It's more on the sweet and tangy side.
And there are a couple of Kansas City locations, right?
Yep.
So their tacos aren't as good, or are they?
No, they're actually pretty damn good.
Watch out
too.
for Kansas City, man. They
Really?
go all out in this competition.
Yeah, they got really involved last year, and they didn't disappoint this year either. Actually, nobody disappointed this year. I was very impressed with everybody. So our East Crossroads location actually did a shrimp ceviche taco.
That does sound great.
Their protein was shrimp. That's a little out of the box too. So it's a cold taco, which normally people complain about tacos being cold, but they made a house shrimp ceviche with a nice fresh pico de gallo, guacamole, and a fried tortilla. So it's pretty good.
It's probably the most refreshing taco I've ever had.
Never had a cold taco. Well, I mean, like I've had like a dessert, ice cream, whatever. One of those kind of things.
Yeah, one of those being hot would be a little upsetting.
Right?
Yeah.
But I've never had one of these. And I think it was on a waffle cone taco shell.
Ooh.
Which is awesome.
Ideas for next year.
Yeah. You know what? There you go. Can I get credit for that one?
I'm maybe.
We'll see.
All right, think about it.
The Ron Jocko.
For the love of God.
I'm workshopping it. I only had 5 seconds for that.
I'm really glad you guys aren't in charge of coming up with the names.
This is horrible. No, we are so bad at titles. That's how we ended up with the show.
Yeah. We missed one though. Are you going to tell them about the Captain's Catch at Crossroads?
That was the Captain's Catch.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. To round up, we have the Pollito. What is it? The
Fresco. The
Pollito Fresco at South Plaza. So they took some chicken breasts. They made a nice house marinade with our MTJ Blanco tequila, lime juice, and agave. Grilled that off, and then they've got a nice fresh pineapple cucumber salsa to put on top of it.
And so I don't know if I missed it. How are you determining the winner in the end?
So the winner will be determined as how many tacos they've sold as a percent of their total tacos sold. So, we have some restaurants that are bigger than others. It would be unfair to say, oh yeah, St. Charles, for instance, has all this extra seating, especially when we expanded that arcade. They sold all these tacos, but they actually sold more of their fish taco anyway, right? So as a percent of their sales, whoever sells the most of their special taco in comparison to the rest of theirs gets the Taco Libre champion crown and special trophy that has been held at Kirkwood all year, and everyone is thirsty for that trophy. They want to put it on their back bar.
I love that, Ron, because if there's one thing to know about me, it's that I like when you run an obscure competition just for fun. I want the rules to be smart, and I want the competition to be well enforced so that our winner is, we find an ethical winner who really deserves it. And that is, I like that they're going in depth with the rules.
Well, I think here's what I think you should do. I think whichever location wins, whoever runs that location gets to be your emperor for an entire year.
I thought you were going to send them on vacation with Amy.
Oh, well, I mean, what? She goes on vacation every week.
Yeah, you'd lose an employee. That would be the end of their employment for a year.
If I'm not mistaken, last time you were here, she was gone, right?
No, she was here.
She was?
She was here.
How did that happen?
She was a sweet, sweet angel. That was the greatest story I've ever heard.
Oh, yeah. She's a sweet angel, isn't she? That's exactly what I think. So these tacos are available for about a month, right? May 28th?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're really encouraging people to rally around their neighborhoods. Del Mar folks, get out to Del Mar, try this dessert taco. It's incredible. Soulard, same thing. Anywhere you live, get out there, buy some tacos, try to bring that trophy home.
All right, fellas. So you have the new arcade you mentioned to us. What was it, about a month ago? You were in here.
Yeah.
How are things going there?
Great. We're very, very happy with St. Charles, and they're taking to that arcade. I think maybe the listeners paid attention when I asked them to watch their kids, because we haven't had as many things break
that's right, you did.
the last few weeks.
That's right.
Which is great. I'll come back on a weekly basis just to remind people. But it's been going really, really well.
That's right. You said your kids are destroying our business. Please hang on to them. Watch them when they're in the arcade.
We want your kids to come enjoy tacos in the arcade with you, but we also want you to be responsible with them. That's all.
There's nothing wrong with personal responsibility.
Full inclusivity. Just
don't throw ski balls at people.
Yeah. Please. Basketballs at televisions. We don't need it.
We need to reserve a whole segment next time they come in. Just let's have a top 5 or top 10 craziest thing that kids have done at the arcade so far.
I mean, we can set up in the arcade and do a show out there, and you can see the mayhem. That would be fun.
Ron, you're a popular guy today. You've had an invitation to Milo's on the Hill. You're getting invited out to St. Charles for the arcade.
Yeah, I like booze.
We have a lot of that.
I know. I've been there.
We even make our own tequila now. I mean,
you do?
Oh yeah, special label and everything. We've got a Blanco and a Reposado.
I don't know what that second one means, but it sounds good.
It just means slightly older.
Oh.
Older's better when it comes to tequila.
Is it better for anything else?
Whiskeys, wine.
Yeah, whiskey,
any
wine.
any kind of booze, I guess.
Okay.
I
What
don't
about
want to be
people?
facetious, but
What
you might
about
have
people?
to tell me.
Unbelievable. You guys are great. Thanks for coming in. I need you to leave so I can eat.
Sounds good. Thank you, guys.
That's
for having us.
Alex Baldera and Joe McMahon from Mission Taco Joint. And again, that competition goes on through May 28th. So go to your location and help them win. All right. We appreciate you guys coming in. The show will continue in a moment on KMOX.
Amy Mark scores here for St. Charles Hyundai. Right now, you can get 0% APR financing on select Hyundai models through May 1st. This is at St. Charles Hyundai. It's conveniently located a quarter mile east of Mid Rivers Mall Drive, just off Highway 70. You can also visit them online at stcharleshyundai.com. They've got a great inventory online. They've got a lot of cars on their lots. And it truly is convenient one-stop shopping at St. Charles Hyundai because it's part of the St. Charles Automotive Group. You have St. Charles Hyundai, St. Charles Nissan, and Genesis of St. Charles all right there. They also have one of the largest pre-owned inventories in the county. At any given time, they'll have between 200 and 300 pre-owned vehicles. Visit them today, St. Charles Hyundai in St. Peters, or go online at stcharleshyundai.com, stcharleshyundai.com.
Celebrate 10 extraordinary St. Louis area women for their outstanding volunteer service and leadership at the 2023 Women of Achievement Luncheon at the Ritz-Carlton St. Louis. From volunteer leaders in human welfare and arts and education to multicultural advocacy and humanitarian concerns. Come celebrate the 2023 Women of Achievement on Tuesday, May 9th at the Ritz-Carlton St. Louis. Doors open at 11:15 a.m. Reservations at WOASTL.org. Presenting sponsors are KMOX Radio, St. Louis Post-Dispatch, and Ladue News. For more information, visit WOASTL.org.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
At Underlaw, we're looking for brave clients who've been injured and are ready to stand beside us in our fight to improve the safety of our community.
Call Onderlaw Personal Injury Lawyers at 314 or 6189 $1 million.
Diamonds Direct's biggest sale all year is going on now with an extra 20% savings, an expanded selection, in-store designer appearances, and special financing. Imagine 20% off Diamonds Direct's already value prices on rings, earrings, bracelets, bands, colored gemstone jewelry, and thousands of engagement ring mountings. Meet the designers who've flown in with all new collections for spring. It's the most exciting event all year with extreme savings and exceptional value. Don't miss this once-a-year jewelry extravaganza. Details, showroom hours, directions, and more at diamondsdirect.com.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at ThrottleNet. So I'm so very proud to have represented the guys at ThrottleNet for all of these years. They are the IT geniuses. George and Mike are the owners. Fantastic guys. They can do all of your IT. They can do a portion of your IT. They have the best Apple support team. Their response time is under 2 minutes. Think about that, under 2 minutes. Something goes sideways with your IT, and they are solving your problem. And they're solving your problem within 2 minutes. Now, let's talk about cybersecurity. Most companies in St. Louis don't have cyber liability insurance. You get hit, you're on the hook, you're probably out of business. With ThrottleNet, if we represent you, we protect you. The first $500,000 that someone hits you for, which isn't going to happen, but if it does, we pay it. $500,000. That's what you're covered for with ThrottleNet. Go to throttlenet.com/DGS for all the information.
Join your St. Louis Symphony Orchestra for an unforgettable performance of Berlioz's The Damnation of Faust. Music director Stefan Deneuve brings together a dream cast of vocalists from the Metropolitan Opera, the St. Louis Symphony Chorus, and the St. Louis Children's Choirs. Experience one of Stefan's favorite works with the maestro himself and celebrate the SLSO's final classical concert of the season, May 5th and 6th at Powell Hall. Tickets at slso.org.
Hey, it's the Cardinal Cowboy and Renner Garage Door. Renner's been servicing and installing garage doors in St. Louis since 1966. Residential, commercial, service and repairs, RENNER, forward and back. Renner, the company that does garage doors. RennerDoorSTL.com. Giddy up!
Track your blood donations right from the palm of your hand and stay updated on special promotions. Download the American Red Cross Blood Donor app today. To learn more, go to redcross.org.
This is the show. The show continues on KMOX.
Nate Gatter in for Amy Marks Cords. I'm Chris Ranji. The show wraps up here in a moment. The Dave Glover Show is next. And it's the crossover hour from 1 until 2 o'clock here on the Mox. It's good to have you with us this afternoon. We are glad that you hung out with us. We're glad for your text messages and calls. Don't forget, anything you missed, it's on the Odyssey app. Download the Odyssey app. It's free. You can get the podcasts of the show. You can listen to us live. You can listen to Cardinals baseball live. It's all really great and free. Totally free. Also, we're at KMOX.com as well. Let's get a call. Dave in Springfield, Illinois, with us on KMOX. Hi, Dave.
Good afternoon, Chris. I used to listen to you up in Chicago on the Score. It's good to hear you're down here.
Well, how about it? Hi, Dave.
On this residency thing, I know it may not be the most popular position, but I believe very strongly that anybody that works for the city, not just St. Louis, any city, should have to live in the city. And I'll give you an example why. If you look at the municipal budget of any city in the United States, St. Louis, anywhere, the two biggest line items in that city budget are salaries for the workers that work for the city and their benefits. Usually those two add up to over 90% of the expenses that the city incurs every year. And if you can't ask your own people to be invested where they work, then how can you realistically expect anybody else to, that has a choice to live in the city and be invested in it? And I know, you say, well, some don't make as much, and that's true. But I know, for example, my son lives overseas in Sydney, Australia. They have the same problem. Sydney's a very expensive place, and their police and fire don't make as much to live in some of the neighborhoods. In that case, the city subsidizes them because they think it's important for the police and fire to be where the citizens they serve are. And I just believe real strongly in it. And, you're not making much of an argument to live in St. Louis if the people you're spending almost all your budget on vamoose at 5 o'clock.
Yeah, well, you know what, Dave? You're not wrong. You're absolutely not wrong about that. If I think in an ideal world, what I would say is you should have to live in the city that you work for. I guess where I'm coming from now is it maybe would be a temporary fix where, look, for the next 5 years, we need people to work here. We're at an all-time low. We need employees. We need workers. We need talent. And the way to get that talent would be to just entice anybody to apply for it and not force them to move. Because if you force them to move, the likelihood is they're not going to move here. And I would say do that for a few years. But then at the end of that, once you have a base of people who work here, I don't know the right way to do it. But maybe you say you can work here for this long, and then you're going to have to move in. Or something. I don't know exactly how that would look. My feeling is this would be just a temporary Band-Aid and not something that would fix the problem overall. And maybe that's the wrong way to do it, but it's how I see it. And I know you live in a state where people talk about taxes being so high, and it's ridiculous how high the taxes are. But, Dave's touched on something that is true. A lot of that tax money, a lot of where that goes is for pensions and compensation and benefits for the people you need. Fire, police, staff like that. That's where a lot of that money is going. That's why it's so expensive in Illinois. So, what do you want to do? Not compensate those people? Not let them have pensions? They should. They earned them. So... And I agree with where he's coming from, because some of that money needs to remain in the city. And one of the ways it remains in the city is you have to live here. So I guess the other thing that can happen is if you work in the city but don't live here, maybe you pay a higher tax into that pool.
That's not the worst idea I've ever heard.
I got more.
Dave is
I got more.
Yeah.
If you want to hear him,
Dave is making a very reasonable point. and I think it's intuitive to a certain degree, and I can appreciate it. Again, though, I think if the reasoning ultimately is about truly being invested in the community where you live and where you work, I think there are enough different communities within the city of St. Louis that enforcing that, you'd almost have to enforce it even on a smaller scale. Almost on a ward level for people, the way it would be for aldermen, because I don't think somebody living in Lindenwood Park or St. Louis Hills is appreciably living in the same place they work if their work is primarily happening in Old North St. Louis or somewhere like that. I really appreciate that Dave hung around. He was on hold for 20, 30 minutes. That was great. He hung around and he made a good argument.
He's right. I mean, ultimately, he is correct. In an ideal world, that's how it should work. Chris is in Valley Park with us on KMOX. Hi, Chris.
Hi, Chris. How are you guys today?
Killing it. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for taking my call. I'll try to be as brief and to the point as possible.
Yeah, try to give me 30 seconds here. We're about to wrap up.
All right. I disagree with you with your belief that the correlation between crime and poverty. I grew up in North St. Louis City. I've got two brothers that grew up in North St. Louis City. We were poor. We had things we needed, but we didn't have hardly anything that we wanted. None of us have ever seen the inside of a jail. I think it depends on the role models you have, and the people that extend good morals into you when you're growing up. My dad made sure that we went to school. I don't care if we had the sniffles or we were mad, we had to go to school and get an education. And if we couldn't do that, we had to get a job. And those were our choices. And I think that makes a difference. I think there's poor role models now in a lot of places.
Well, I think you're right, Chris, and you are an example that it can work. The argument is that the overall numbers pretty much prove that while there are exceptions, and you might be an exception to the rule, and your family might have been, that the odds of poverty making criminals is very, very high. Like I said, that doesn't mean it's true of it. Doesn't mean that everybody who's poor and grows up poor is going to lead to a life of crime. It just means that it is more likely for that to happen. And the numbers show that. Do appreciate the call. Nate Gatter, appreciate you hanging out with me for a few days.
An honor and a privilege to be even associated with the great Chris Rodgers.
All right, that's enough. Dave Glover shows up next.
Your garage door is always there for you, rain or shine. Are you taking your garage door for granted? Is it screeching and whining?